It is the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment and AmericanExperiment.org on a Freedom Friday, and I'm glad that you are with today's broadcast.
The rising sun. See my fizz in a plastic cup. Star Wars dreams keep lifting him up. Costco aisles is sacred ground where neon shadows spin around.
Welcome to a Dry Run Freedom Friday here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment and AmericanExperiment.org. The show will, of course, officially launch coming up on Monday morning, 6 until 9 a.m. But you already know that because you listened to or watched Thursday's Dry Run show in the wake of the announcement taking place at the state capitol on Saturday for the Center of the American Experiment, America 250 block party. So you're aware of all of those things. I am your host, John Justice, and with me is Isaac, producer, who is helping us navigate all of making sure that the equipment works appropriately. This is why we test.
This is why we test.
This is why we test. 612-584-4565. That is the comment line. If you'd like to leave us a comment at any point throughout the show, we're looking forward to sharing those with you. And that will be, apart from the email, john.justice@americanexperiment.org. That will be the primary way to interact with the show through our comment line at 612-584-4565. So be sure that you lock that in. I think that we decided yesterday that speed dial was antiquated. Nobody uses that anymore.
Correct.
So create a new contact in your phone.
Yes, there you go.
That sounds lame.
Create a new contact in your phone to make sure you can leave a comment.
It's not very flashy. It's kind of like comment line.
But then everyone can have your contact in their phone.
All right.
That feels fun.
You know, I'm liking you. I mean, I liked you already. We haven't worked together a lot, right? I liked you already. But I'm liking you more and more every day.
Well, that's good after our technical difficulties.
We're on the same wavelength. Yeah. So jokes on everybody else. We're going to have to go longer after 9 o'clock this morning because we're about 45 minutes behind. You see, now that I'm no longer working for Me Muscle, I can go and actually mention when we have technical difficulties because apparently we did a whole half hour of the show and nobody could hear me.
I thought you sounded good.
Thank you. I thought it was great. I really did. You know,
I had fun.
I thought specifically, you probably appreciated all of the wonderful comments I made about my beautiful wife during that.
Yes.
During that. I mean, the whole segment was about my wife Melinda and just what a fantastic wife and mother she is.
True.
I'm only saying that because she's one of the individuals who's listening while we do this dry run. And so I did bring her up earlier, but more talking about the fact that she wanted me to bring multiple shirts today to decide which one looked best on camera. To my point that I was talking about with Isaac earlier, it is a great idea. I appreciate that my wife is looking out for me. That being said, I told Isaac I got bigger fish to fry, and boy, that was the case this morning. No doubt about that.
Correct.
Right. If my okay, good. My wife sent me a smiley face because that could have gone either way. That could have been a red-faced emoji, and that could have gotten ugly. So, speaking of shirts, though, I did bring an extra shirt today because if you are watching the live stream, I'm wearing an Alex Bowman NASCAR shirt. And that's because my favorite driver since Dale Earnhardt Jr. retired some 10 years ago is Alex Bowman, who announced yesterday that he is retiring from NASCAR following next season. So it's a little bit bittersweet for me, you know, like any a fan of any sport, when a player that you love leaves the game, when a driver that you love decides they're going to retire, it's always one of those things that, oh, man, what a bummer. But I get to enjoy him for another year and a half. An individual who I feel a kinship with because of how he came up in his racing career. He suffered a lot of physical ailments, concussion, broke his back, vertigo earlier this year, and there was a lot of question marks surrounding whether or not he would return to NASCAR. Another aspect of that, by the way, that I wanted to mention is we were discussing this earlier, but there's this thing in fandom now, and it's not exclusive to pop culture. You see it within news as well, but you see it in sports. There's this nasty turn in terms of fandom where people want to root for things to go wrong. Like, people are rooting for Avengers Doomsday to fail. I mean, it's just a movie, but this is where fandoms are. I mean, social media perpetuates this within the cultural zeitgeist. And the same thing rings true for NASCAR. And Alex Bowman has been sort of a favorite whipping boy among NASCAR fans for a number of different reasons. So there's a relatability for me as well. Especially, and I can use the example recently where we've been making the announcements in the run-up to the official launch of the show coming up on Monday, and the foes of the show have been coming out of the woodwork online as of late, which is really fun. You know, I don't care about you and your show, but let me go ahead and randomly comment completely unprovoked on the fact that you shared a logo on X yesterday, you loser. It's so weird. You know, for somebody who says they don't care, you certainly act like you care.
And it's a nice logo.
It's a beautiful logo.
Thank you.
Yeah. Somebody asked me if I made it yesterday. I said, yeah. I'm just kidding. I did not. I did not say yes. I would not steal that thunder from you. Isaac was the one who took care of our took care of our
unless
our logos.
They don't like it, then you go ahead.
That's true.
Full credit.
We will be talking about Mike Lindell and why he's decided to tackle this amnesty plan, because that's what it is. They can spin it all they want. They can absolutely spin it all they want, but it is absolutely an amnesty plan. So we have some audio of Mike Lindell that we'll share coming up. Also, in just a moment, Trump weighs massive new strike on Iran. I have some audio to share, comments from Marco Rubio to get into. When it comes to Mike Lindell, just really quick, when it comes to Mike Lindell, we'll get into the details of his plan and how they simply can't run from the fact that this is amnesty. But the other part to this, and I may have found the answer, is I just don't understand why he's dealing with this at all. We've got half a dozen to a dozen issues to take care of, to talk about, to handle here in Minnesota. Why is he bringing up anything regarding illegal immigration that cannot be handled at the state level? Because even as governor, he has no control over that. In the midst of my research, I think I may have stumbled across the answer. And I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you coming up a little bit later on in the show, and probably when our guests join us in studio on a Freedom Friday. We'll have Grace Keating and Katherine Johnson from the American Experiment podcast. And to that point, you know, they've been focusing, and American Experiment has been focusing on the key issues facing Minnesotans and what's most important for voters in making their decision of who they end up voting for in the primary and, of course, in the general election coming up in November, which just goes and sort of reinforces this thought in my mind and question that I have of why is Mike Lindell's campaign even bringing this up? And like I said, I think I may have the answer for you. I'll share that with you again coming up a little bit later on. I do have a clip. Speaking of those issues here at Center of the American Experiment that they're focusing on, and Katherine and Grace have been talking about it and posting clips online. I have a short montage of a few of those clips from the American Experiment podcast that I'll share with you here in just a moment. Before I do, though, I want to make one quick comment that I didn't make yesterday when talking about what happened with my former employer, who shall not be named, Me Muscle. And I just want to quickly say, and I didn't say it yesterday, that I don't have any animosity at all to what happened with my former employer. I knew when I first got into radio and throughout the entirety of my 30-year career, I made a choice to get into entertainment, doing that thing with my fingers. No, we need that T-shirt, by the way. We need a doing that thing. Because are you familiar with the doing that thing with my fingers in the show at all? I know you've listened somewhat on Fridays, but you're a little newer to the show.
I'm a little newer.
So early on when I started doing talk radio, I would go through stories like I have the one here about Iran and a massive strike on Iran and all this stuff. And you get into the story and there would be things that were quoted. And I for some reason, I didn't like saying, as was quoted. So I started doing that thing with my fingers whenever I reach a quote in a story. And so now it's become a thing, doing that thing with my fingers. No, but when I got into radio, I knew that I was getting into an industry that was volatile. And that if the company who was relying on me to make money decides that my services are no longer needed, and that's exactly what they said to me, for whatever reason, and this was not a local decision. In the early part of my radio career, you could control your destiny. As long as you had great ratings and you were successful, you were bringing in money, revenue, endorsements, it was great. Times have changed. I was having a tremendous amount of success, probably the most success that I had at Me Muscle in the time that I had been there, and certainly in the time that I had taken over as host of the show in the wake of the passing of my dear friend Drew Lee, who was doing the show with me. The show had been as successful as ever. But Me Muscle's dealing with their own financial issues under a mountain of debt. Some corporate bean counter, and I'm not even using that as a pejorative, it's just the reality. Some corporate bean counter decided that I was one of those individuals who they could cut in order to balance their budget seats at the end of a quarter. And or budget sheets, not seats. Is budget seat even a thing? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. So we'll just let's start over again. We're going to stop the feed. Just kidding. Now that we got everything up and working, I'm not gonna do that. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned, because throughout talking about the story yesterday, I didn't bring up the fact that I really harbor no ill will, and certainly not for anybody in the offices in St. Louis Park, because none of them even knew that was the case. And even if it was an internal decision, and it wasn't, but even if it was, that's okay. Hey man, I chose to be in this job. That's 100% on me. Now, it's a completely different ball game here at Center of the American Experiment, because you let me go here and I'm going to burn it all down. Just joking. Everybody's just like, what? What is that? What has happened? I was joking with Grace yesterday, because we have to connect our program to do the show to multiple streaming outlets. Because I made a list. You're going to be able to listen or watch the John Justice Show presented by American Experiment on no less than 10 different feeds, which is pretty incredible. This is what you can do now. It's amazing. And I firmly believe this is where radio is going, as I mentioned on the show yesterday. But I had to get access to all of the Center of the American Experiment social media accounts, and I was joking with Grace that this was all one big ruse, so that I could just get access to all of the social media accounts, and I'm gonna sell them off to Derechos de Humanos and let them go and take over all your feeds. All right, coming up, we do have our guests in studio. Trump is weighing a massive news strike on Iran. Could be larger than Operation Epic Fury. And we'll continue the thought of why the media has gotten bored with the war, and then we'll dive into the issue of voting. Why is Mike Lindell tackling illegal immigration? I do not understand. But speaking of the American Experiment podcast, here is a montage of a couple of moments you might have missed from some of the more recent American Experiment podcasts with Katherine Johnson and Grace Keating, available at AmericanExperiment.org, here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment.
The legislature passed a new social media warning law that requires social media companies to display a mental health warning label to users on their sites. The label's text must warn the user of potential mental health impacts from using social media and provide additional potential mental health resources, including the National Suicide Hotline number and website. So the law also bars platforms from allowing a user to disable the warning label or like provide it in the terms and conditions, basically do anything so that it's not super higher rate. The Trump administration has actually sued Minnesota in order to get them to hand over their SNAP records from the last 5 years. Minnesota has refused to share this information voluntarily, so the administration took them and some other states to court. The U.S. Department of Agriculture said it's pursuing the data to check for fraud and waste and is seeking the program's eligibility and benefit transaction records. As Attorney General Todd Blanche said in a statement, the American people deserve a government that is transparent about how it spends their hard-earned tax dollars.
We wanted to start off this week's episode with a little update from something we talked about last week, which was, of course, the Minneapolis bathhouse situation, which it sounds like are now legal in the great city of Minneapolis, right, Catherine?
Woohoo! It was legalized, fully legalized, signed off by Mayor Jacob Fry on Pride weekend. We even have a clip of it to show you guys. Go ahead, Isaac.
This is the bathhouse ordinance. Everybody ready?
And that's City Hall, by the way. That's Minneapolis City Hall. People are struggling to get by, especially in our middle-class families across the state. You would think the city council would be doing something about this, right? Well, sort of. Here's what they are doing. They entered into a $1.4 million contract with a firm to provide coaching and counseling between council members and Mayor Fry's office.
Oh, boy.
For executive coaching and mediation to improve teamwork. The city council is also continuing to reduce main roadways like Hennepin Avenue to 1 lane in each direction and eliminating parking to enhance bike and mass transit access.
That should be great for businesses, right?
Yeah, it's
that should
really
be great for economic activity.
They opposed ordinances on enforcement of livability issues such as loitering, begging, spitting on sidewalks, possessing drug paraphernalia, and what they call urban camping.
Wait, so they stopped people from passing rules against those things?
Correct. Ordinances on enforcement of livability issues such as loitering, begging, spitting on sidewalks, possessing drug paraphernalia, and what they call urban camping.
Wait, so they stopped people from passing rules against those things?
Correct.
Like they're pro-loitering,
They're
pro-drug paraphernalia.
homeless encampment. I'm not kidding.
Again, great for economic activity. This
Right.
is really going to make Minneapolis like a thriving hub that people with children want to visit and spend their money at.
Last but not least, they hosted the first ever transgender drag show in Minneapolis City Hall to honor Pride Month in 2026.
Thank goodness.
Here when you talk about fewer regulations on childcare centers is people worry about safety because there are issues with safety in childcare centers. It's not frequent at all, but it always hits the news when there's an incident that happens, and it's sad, it's awful, it breaks your heart, So if we were to reduce regulations, would that make childcare centers less safe, or how do you balance those two needs?
Yeah, that's a really good point, because a lot of that fear really goes down to what is happening, in that center when the parents leave their children. What some of the studies found, though, was that a lot of the places where those kinds of incidents happened were providers that weren't following the rules that were on the book. So you didn't necessarily need new rules. You just needed to make sure that the rules that you have on the book are being followed by all of them.
And those were a series of clips from the American Experiment podcast, out every Tuesday, hosted by Katherine Johnson and Grace Keating, who will be joining us shortly here in studio on a dry run Freedom Friday. It's a John Justice Show presented by American Experiment. You can email john.justice@americanexperiment.org. Also, if you want to leave a comment, this is the best way to communicate with the show. 612-584-4565. 612-584-4565. I don't have that. I made the mistake yesterday. I thought, you know what? Usually I go the route of making sure I've got a bunch of notes in front of me, especially when I'm starting a new show. And oh my gosh, how many radio stations have I actually had to do a transition from? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 different times I've had to go through this. Well, it's been 30 years, so if you start doing a lot of those were in very quick succession in the first 7 years of my career. The past 20 have been a lot more stable. But when you start a new show, you become so accustomed to the call letters, the phone number of the previous show that you worked for. I'm always paranoid when I start a new show that I'm going to go and say something wrong. I'm going to give out the wrong call letters, right? Because it's one of those little things that other people don't really care that much, but they will mock you incessantly for it. It's the same thing when it comes to like guests' titles, military rankings. I get the most embarrassed when I go and screw up somebody who's been elected to office and I put him in the House instead of the Senate, or I put him in the Senate and I had that happen with Eric Lucero about a year and a half ago. Probably longer than that now. Time all runs together. But he had redistricting that took place, and so he wasn't in the House anymore. He's in the Senate. He corrected me on air. I was like, darn it. So yesterday when I was doing the show, I thought, I don't need to go and write my email address down. It's john.justice@americanexperiment.org, and I just kept screwing it up. So I made a little note this time. See, it's all about the testing. That's right. john.justice@americanexperiment.org. All right. Yesterday we spoke a bit about, and again, you're going to be enjoying this podcast and show after the America 250 block party at the state capitol. This will be posted on Saturday afternoon. So who knows? We may have, bombed the bejesus out of Iran by then, and this story about Trump weighing a massive news strike might be completely irrelevant. You could be listening right now to me giving you details on how President Donald Trump told Axios on Thursday that he's considering a massive attack that could be even larger than Operation Epic Fury. You could be listening to this right now in the wake of having us dropped a nuclear bomb on Iran. I really hope I didn't just will that into existence. I want to see us take out Iran, no less, but we need to keep the infrastructure in place for the good people of Iran. So there's some concern there. But Trump is getting tired of Iran, and this time they have rejected the latest ceasefire agreement yesterday. Trump said that while Israel would quickly join a renewed campaign if asked, the United States has the capability to act alone. Israel would join in 2 minutes if I asked them to, Trump said, adding, "We don't need anybody." Trump also warned that Israel's participation could trigger additional Iranian retaliation, underscoring the stakes of any expanded military operation. The comments came as U.S. officials told Axios no final order has been issued despite mounting military preparations throughout the Middle East. Now, the Wall Street Journal did report on Wednesday night that the Pentagon has surged special forces, fighter aircraft, bombers, aerial refueling assets, and medical personnel to the region. This is giving Trump a wider range of military options should he authorize the additional strikes. And this all follows nearly 2 weeks of intensified U.S. attacks aimed at degrading Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz after the repeated Iranian attacks on vessels transiting the strategic waterway. Now, the buildup also comes as some Republicans have expressed concern about the financial cost and duration of the conflict. While the administration officials maintain that preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon remains vital to U.S. national security objectives, Secretary Marco Rubio said that Iran has shown little interest in reaching a negotiated settlement, reinforcing the administration's argument that maintaining military pressure may be necessary.
Just want some clarification. Do you rule out striking civilian infrastructure?
I think I saw, guys, I saw Arachi, their foreign minister, who the other day say or something about their policies, an eye for an eye. The president's policy is a head for an eye. I mean, honestly, that's what it's going to be. I mean, they will pay a very heavy price for the things they're doing. They're already paying a very heavy price. You guys don't know it because you don't cover it. You're not in Iran. You're not in the street. They don't have a free media. But they're going to continue to pay a very heavy price. Their industrial base has been decimated. Their defense industrial base has been decimated. They're losing launchers. They're losing radars every single night. They are suffering billions of dollars in damage, and their economy is a disaster. But despite all that, okay, these people who are calling us every day, begging, let's do a deal, they send us messages through other countries, third countries. I mean, they're running out of countries to send. Even I had countries here coming up to me, I just spoke to the Iranians, they want to do a deal. The problem is, every time these people do a deal, they either break it or after they make it, they want to change the deal. So they're probably not ready to do a deal yet, but they will be soon because the price they're paying is very high despite their tough talk and their flowery language and their stupid Lego videos they put out. I've never seen them, but they put these things out on social media. Despite all that bravado, they are suffering tremendously, and they're going to suffer more until they come to their senses. They're not there yet, unfortunately.
Now, there's a very interesting thing that's been taking place, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I want to expand upon it a bit, and that is the media's lack of interest in the ongoing war in Iran. I talked about how this happened with the war in Iraq. That was a much longer period of time, but the reason and the rationale is the same, even though the dynamics of why the media's gotten bored with the war in Iran have changed. It's just the process of the media moving on to other things happens at a much faster rate. So with the war in Iraq, we didn't have all the social networking that we have now in terms of X and Facebook and all of it. And so your primary source of getting information was still your local news, but in this case, the mainstream media. And they were covering at length the war in Iraq and had correspondents. We had a correspondent. As a matter of fact, member of Congressman Don Bacon used to be in the military. He was in the first few years of working in Tucson, he was my Iraq war correspondent at the time. We would check in with him once a week to find out, how are things with the war going on? So it wasn't quite that silly, but he now serves in Congress. My point being that eventually the media, but it took a couple of years, got bored with the war in Iraq. And it was in large part because the media, and really any content creator for the most part, even I try to do that, they want to tell a story. They want to tell the story that's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the media likes to go and cover that. And in this case, they don't have a beginning, middle, and an end. And when it comes to the war in Iran, they keep acting like, and because Trump keeps letting everybody know, hey, we're working on a deal. There may be a new deal. They keep acting like it. But at the same time, we know that ceasefires get rejected. The military operations grow and continue, and then we're right back where we started from again. Because of that, the media has gotten bored with covering the war in Iran, and that's a benefit to the administration and what they're trying to do. Now, of course, Democrats and some Republicans have been attempting to seize on the energy implications of the war in Iran, especially the gas prices. But I'm really of the opinion that that's not nearly as effective as the left might think, because when was the last time the gas prices truly plummeted to a point where you went to fill up your car and you went, boy, this is way cheaper than it used to be? I mean, they've really kind of been there, and they've been high for a while. Now, trust me, when I was on the road traveling for my road trip, I was definitely aware of the gas prices because they were stupid expensive in other states. There's something you can do about it, And Monty likes to drink the good stuff. I tried feeding. I tried. He was thirsty. I tried to give him some of the more inexpensive stuff. Here's some bubbly, right? It's water, but it's got some flavor, but it's got no calories. He didn't like that. He's like, I need Coke. I need Coca-Cola straight into my tank, which means there's more moolah coming out of my account. But I don't think that it really is having that big of an impact. And the whole reason I bring this up is because I was doing prep this morning and I saw that Amy Klobuchar had put up a post, meaning somebody in her campaign went and put up a post. And it was, as a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and we'll do this on the fly as our guests get settled. While I look this up, I'll go ahead and do introductions on a Dry Run Freedom Friday. Joining us in studio, may look like they're in a completely different room, but they're not. They're right here in front of me. We've got Katherine Johnson and Grace Keating. So while I look up Amy Klobuchar's comment here, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show, you two.
Good morning. So happy to be here.
And everything's working, and you can hear me just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't.
As it has been all morning, John. What are you talking about?
That's right. You're going to be like my former boss. Don't ever complain. People that are tuning in now don't know you had a problem.
That's a good point, actually.
Oh, here it is. I found it. Amy Klobuchar. As Trump continues his illegal war with Iran, Minnesotans are paying the price at the pump. Higher prices mean higher costs for families, small businesses, and farmers. We need leaders focused on lowering costs, writes somebody within the Senator of Small Things camp. So am I completely off the mark here? I feel like this this is believed to be a good talking point to push back against Trump. But at the same time, I don't know about you guys. For me, I haven't seen like a dramatic drop at all. Not in a negative way, but in terms of gas and all that. I go like, okay, I haven't really noticed the change at the price at the pump, so I don't know how effective those types of criticisms are. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I haven't really either, but I do think in general everyone is feeling higher prices. Their income is going not as far. I mean, and a lot of that, when we're here in Minnesota, has to do with our state policy,
right.
You know? And people don't necessarily know that, you know? They just see what's happening in their wallet and they blame the president. And, you know, yeah, he takes some credit for some of that as well. I mean, I think a lot of what happened during COVID really takes the credit, you know, pumping all that money into the economy. But it is a point that I think lands with some people that things feel less affordable than before. But honestly, no, I haven't seen a huge difference in gas prices on my end anyway.
Grace, did you have any thoughts on that as you're putting fuel in your car? Are you even looking at the pump and the price, or are you just kind of putting it in there and I'm paying for it?
I try not to look.
Okay.
If I'm being honest. You know, ignorance is bliss a little bit.
Well, you know, and maybe I'm actually going to kind of contradict myself here for just a moment because, Catherine, you brought up a good point. I think for those that are paying attention, for those that are engaged in politics on a somewhat regular basis, I mean, not like all of us, we're kind of all, you know, wonks about all this because of the nature of what we do. But for those that would listen to a show like this that do pay attention, I think you're right. I think the issue of the rise in taxes, the fraud that's taken place, I think that all supersedes it. But again, and I'll self-push back a little bit on what I said. You know, what Amy Klobuchar is pointing to is something that resonates more with what I noticed when I was out on my travels, and that was you can easily disconnect from the news and not really know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And then when you do hear commentary, it's typically commentary like that on the surface level, wherein you're not really engaged in the state politics here in Minnesota. If you're disconnected from all that, you may not even know there's rampant fraud and that because of the policies of the DFL, we're all having to pay more than we should. But when you see a comment like that, it may hit closer to home. So maybe it's more effective than I let on in the first place.
I think maybe. A more general question. Do you guys ever envy those people, or are you glad that you're very aware of everything that's going on? Or do you ever think, man, I chose the wrong line of work and I'm just like more stressed than I need to be or more concerned about the state of things? Because there is something to be said for distancing yourself, you know, taking a week off like you did and going on a road trip and disconnecting. And you realize, wow, we still have beautiful parks. We still have this amazing country, you know, and sometimes when you're so engrossed in it, it stresses you out, you know? So do you ever get jealous of those people?
So
the ignorant ones?
You know, Grace, let me have you answer first, and then I'll give my answer because I'm probably going to go long on this. So
I'm going to be really short. Yeah, I do envy those people. I think I'm learning about myself this morning that I very much subscribe to the ignorance is bliss viewpoint, and I'm very jealous of people who, I think especially, you can definitely go through life and still notice that things are, you know, bad or not as good as they used to be. But I think knowing the reason and knowing that it's out of your control makes it so much worse. I think that that's especially what's difficult about being in this space for me.
I would qualify it and say I think it depends on what you do in life. So it was interesting for me in those essentially 2 weeks because that was and it was the first time in years that I had disengaged fully from anything news related, to where I just wasn't paying attention, only got updates when we were watching the 4th of July celebrations at my mom's house in Prescott, Arizona. But I also know that that's not the reality in the moment. That's vacation. I'm on a special trip. When you go and engage back with work, like that you're not paying attention to, or someone's not paying attention to the media is probably replacing that with something else in their life. There's probably something else that also is bringing in their attention.
That's insightful.
The larger point, I think, for me is when I retire, completely different ballgame. I think when I retire, I'll be able to step away fully and just be like, you know what, I'm done. I spent my entire, career as a talk show host covering the news. I just want to retire and do whatever it is I want to do. And, I dreamed about writing more books, and selling books is hard that not a lot of people will go and buy. So I look forward to that moment. But in this moment right now, I can't imagine having the family that I have, even if I wasn't in radio, and the amount of involvement that I have just if I was doing a different job. I think I would have to be engaged. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would want to be completely checked out like that. I don't think most Republicans are that way. I think that's something that kind of, as I steer this a different direction, I wonder if that's more in line with those on the left that are easier to go and check out from politics than other individuals. I could be, and again, I could be wrong on that, but it seems to me that it would be more likely for Democrats to go and not pay attention to what's going on than it would be for Republicans.
I think that's probably right. They're certainly more likely to pick up on a narrative and just run with it, or believe what they hear maybe. I think they are more typical to fall in line with, what the party dictates of them. But I think my own answer is like somewhere in between. Yes, maybe, but also when you meet those people in real life and you try and have a conversation with them, it can be so frustrating. Like, how are you so ignorant about what's going on? Yeah. I firmly believe people should not be ignorant of what's going on. That's why I do what I do. But sometimes they do seem happier.
I think, especially when you look at people, my age in their 20s, it's more of like an interest, something that they're opting in. Because for all they say about, the high stakes and we're in a fight for, our very country and democracy is crumbling and, the Republicans don't want certain people to exist, for all of the drama attached to their side, to the left, I think that it is much more of something that they're choosing to get angry about, especially when you're young. It's cool and you want to feel important, and it's popular in the media and socially. So in that sense, I think it is much easier for them to tune out or choose to step away or choose to not get upset about certain things, just because it's not. I genuinely don't think that, especially when you're younger, again, that those convictions are as deeply held as for conservatives.
I want to bring it back full circle because we started. I brought this up because of Amy Klobuchar's post. It's just second nature now. Like I can't not. Like if I say Amy, I feel like I'm saying it wrong. That's just how it is. But you know what? Her post and to both of your points, I think her post does play to the base, but those are individuals who I don't think are checked out, but they're only checked in to a very narrow. They're looking at a very narrow set of outlets that are feeding them all the same information. Mm-hmm. So a post like that, I'm looking at it now that I really think about it. I'm looking at it from the perspective of a conservative Republican, and not even so much as a talk show host, but as a conservative Republican. I look at that and I kind of go, you know what? Right now, I feel like there's bigger fish to fry than what it is you're focused on. There's a larger issue regarding Iran that we need to go and take care of. So I'm okay with it costing me more, to go and put gas in Monty. But for the vast majority of those on the left, posts like that, it feeds that idea of what the Democrat Party has simply become, a party that's against President Donald Trump, and it just feeds into that narrow thing that's been very effective for them. They hate Trump, and that helps to go and fuel that hatred.
The more we talk about this, too, I think back to 2020, and I think that was such a big wake-up call for how you can live in a city like Minneapolis. And yes, the riots were an unusual time. But other than that, there were people who could live right in Minneapolis and not know how bad crime was and how much the city was struggling just because they were only listening to the news outlets that refused to cover stories like that. And that reminds me of this very much.
So I want to switch over to Mike Lindell and whatever the heck is going on with this whole situation. I have audio to share here in just a moment. But before we do that, though, let's drop back a little tiny bit. Let's go back. This is a dry run show, so we kind of have a lot more freedom to do what we want to do, even if it means starting late because nobody can actually hear me talk, which we figured that out earlier. Thanks to them, we were just la, 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 la.
We were having a good time.
We were having a great time. I was so excited. The show's going great. And it's like, I can't hear John. I don't know what John is saying.
You have to pay extra for that now.
Yeah. That's a subscription service.
Yes.
You can watch the videos. You can see the feed. You can see Showgrew, who had to move because he was dominating the camera yesterday. But you can't hear me. No, let's back up a little bit. First question I have for both of you. It's got to be nicer to be able to do a Freedom Friday and just come to work and do Freedom Friday as opposed to having to go to the offices, the studios at Me Muscle in St. Louis Park.
It's nice. It's pretty nice. It's a little closer for me. I like it. We can just stay here afterward. Although I used to always drive through Caribou afterward. And one thing about Caribou is there's always like a non-gendered person who is like working the drive-through. And I just always felt like, wow, what a cap on my Freedom Friday is like some person who is like, you can't determine their gender or anything about them. Tells me to have a nice day. Okay. And I liked that. And I got that cinnamon bread, and I'm going to miss that. But I'll create a new routine.
What I'm liking most, I do like the shorter commute for sure. I'm really enjoying. I'm watching the stream on YouTube over here, and I love the idea that you, John, are at your desk and you're popping over every time we speak, and it's us on our American Experiment podcast set, and it's like a merging of the two shows. I love cool. The visual of that.
Yeah. It feels like when you're because I have an image up on my screen over here as well. It feels like we're in two different places.
Yeah,
we need a side shot.
We need the above, looking down from above ceiling shot.
Well, we do need that, but we need to clean up a little before we get it, I think.
Yeah, not yet.
I keep telling everybody we need rugs. Rugs will solve all of this.
There are more cords on the floor than you could even imagine possible.
There's more
listening audience.
There's more cords than carpet on the floor currently.
Yeah,
it's like Indiana Jones when he goes into why is the floor moving, Indy? Snakes. Why did it have to be cable? Why did it have to be cable snakes? So I want to take this moment and just say thank you to the three of you and everybody for helping to put this together. And when I say this too, I really mean this behind me as well, because holy cow, that was a project.
That was a labor of love, is what that was.
Yeah. So no, it's all fantastic.
It's beautiful now, by the way.
It's great.
If I do say so myself.
We taught Grace how to use a caulk gun. That was pretty fun.
That was a learning experience.
Oh, there are some listeners that will love that. She bought and I throw no stones, okay, because I would do the same thing. But she bought the glue that goes in a caulk gun, but not the gun. So we had the glue bottles and screwdrivers, and we're trying to mash the glue out of it without a gun. We finally got guns, and it was like 1,000,000 times easier.
Okay, so I gotta back up Grace here though, because I was just gonna say that that was probably a major man moment on my part because we were talking about what we needed. You were ordering the liquid nails. And I think multiple times people had come to me and said, aren't these supposed to go in a gun? I'm like, we're fine. It's fine. We'll just squeeze the bottom and we'll just make do. And I was completely and totally wrong.
Okay, so it's your fault.
That's
my
fault.
Worse.
It's 100%.
That's worse, John.
It's 100% my fault. It's 100%. I'm the one that initially stuck the screwdriver into the top of it to get it to come out. And I'm like, you just push it up like the yogurt push-ups. Just push it on up from the bottom and use them.
Oh, we tried valiantly, but that was not going to get us through the 150 plus panels that are on this wall.
It didn't work. It didn't work. So I had mentioned that if all this goes south and everybody can just become carpenters, we already have all the tools necessary to go and do that. All right, let's take a real quick break. I want to share some audio. If you follow me on social media, JON, John Justice, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, or on X, I have been putting up some clips throughout the month that you might have missed. I would encourage you to head online and follow and subscribe to all of us, especially Center of the American Experiments social media accounts as well. But here is a short montage of some clips from over the month that I posted online in the middle of not only traveling, but also preparing to launch this show, The John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment. I'm looking at a headline from Fox 9 here in Minnesota. Through the years, a decade's worth of investigating fraud in Minnesota. That's the problem. It's been going on for a decade.
And yes, there's been a lot of investigations. And yes, a lot of media outlets have done investigations. Typically, they wait until the peak outrage is over. They ignore the louder voices against this because they don't want to amplify any negative messages for Democrats. But what happens is you have some people that are held accountable. Feeding Our Future was just too big to be ignored. The federal government had to come in and go and handle that particular fraud program, $250 million, which at the time was the biggest COVID-era fraud that has been perpetuated across the country, and it is a pittance compared to what we are faced with now. So what's happened in the 10 years, the decades worth of investigating fraud? Nothing. It's exploded. It's gotten even larger, despite a handful of individuals being held accountable, and that's the point. Because, see, whenever these different fraud stories in various government-funded entities emerges, typically you'll have a Democrat or Governor Tim Walz come out and assign some new task force or some new czar or some new individual that's beholden only to him. He says that I'm going to do this to go and take care of it, or a handful of people are prosecuted. All of it is just enough to stop the coverage. Just enough to quell any outrage that might be occurring on the Democrat side, because the outrage has always been there on the Republican side. And the cycle just continues over and over and over again. Right now, we are looking at a watershed moment here in Minnesota. We're beginning to finally realize the scope of the problem, which is even larger than I think most people even realized, beyond our wildest fantasies of how much this fraud has grown. If we're going to tackle it, it needs to be tackled now, this year, or else the state is done for.
The hot takes on the recent news regarding Minnesota's paid family medical leave are about as stupid and ridiculous as I would have expected. Now, I've been checked out a little bit. I'm currently on vacation. We're getting ready to hit the road from sunny Southern California, heading back to Minnesota, so I'm re-engaging in local news, and I see that paid family medical leave is running 19% over projections. Now, that's better than what John Phelan at Center of the American Experiment had been projecting. It was running ahead about 32%. But it's still not good. Representative Max Reimer said months ago on the show that it's probably already out of money, and it's right, and he's right. And the hot takes that I'm seeing are individuals going, well, these projections show that this is filling a need for Minnesotans. No, it's not. It's redistributing the wealth of hardworking individuals like you and like me to individuals who are taking advantage of the program. Now, that's not to say that everybody that takes advantage and uses paid family medical leave is doing it nefariously. But the truth is, individuals that need to take time off already had options to go and do that. Options that didn't take money out of my paycheck and your paycheck and redistribute it to go and give to somebody else. Sick days, vacation days. I know I've had 3 open heart surgeries, and I was able to go and take time off through my various jobs. I never needed paid family medical leave. This isn't filling a need. No, this is a Democrat scheme to keep people voting for Democrats in order for them to go and continue to retain power and grow their power. That's it. And this is why you need to make sure that you do everything that you can personally to support the candidates and the issues that matter like this, so that we can get real change in Minnesota later on this year and put people in positions of power that'll do something about this horrible scheme to redistribute the wealth of hardworking Minnesotans. This is a joke, and ignore those ridiculous hot takes. This isn't a need that Minnesotans had. This was a need of Democrats in order to continue to try and win elections. Hey, make sure. And it's the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment and AmericanExperiment.org. Remember, you can listen live at AmericanExperiment.org. Also, download the MixLR, just like it's MixLR app. Find the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment there. And we'll be streaming live on multiple YouTube pages, Center of the American Experiment, my personal YouTube page, along with the Instagram, X, and Facebook, and Rumble. I think it's Rumble links there as well. So, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be no less than 10 different locations where you can listen or watch the show Monday through Friday, 6 until 9 a.m. You can email me, john.justice@americanexperiment.org, and the comment line 612-584-4565. That's going to be the primary way for you to communicate with the show. It's a dry run show, and it's a dry run Freedom Friday in studio. And completely unaware we will be talking about news items today is Katherine Johnson and Grace Keating from Center of the American Experiment. Oh, hold on.
Good morning.
There we go.
Good morning. It's a dry run, everyone.
Isaac's over here pushing buttons.
Pushing a lot of buttons. Still figuring them out.
Working out all the bugs. You know who else is working out the bugs? That would be Mike Lindell and his campaign. What the heck is going on? I do not understand why. I feel like Mike Lindell didn't expect that his amnesty plan was going to raise such a ruckus. I have audio to share. I have the story here, and we'll give you the details of what this plan entails. But for some, and I could be wrong, because I think I may have uncovered, I just was doing my prep, and I found some stories relating to the fact that apparently there are multiple congressional Republicans that are pushing various types of amnesty bills, just like Mike Lindell is. So I feel like this is there's something larger at play in all of this, but at the same time, I also wonder if this was just something that he had in his head during this interview, made the comment, this is what I want to do, and not realize that this was going to go and cause major consternation among Republicans. And so before I get to the audio, I want to let Grace and Katherine sort of weigh in on this. Just what do you think happened here? Do you think this was supposed to be a major policy plan, an idea for Mike Lindell's gubernatorial campaign? Or do you think that this ended up exploding and now he's kind of stuck in a moment and he can't get out of it?
I don't know. It's the definition of unforced errors. I mean, why did he say anything at all about this issue? But I think you might be right, John, because he was in that interview, I think, with Esme Murphy, maybe? Was that right?
I have the audio here in just a moment. We'll play it.
He was talking about it, and by the time it caught on, it was maybe weeks after the interview actually aired. And so I don't know what else he said in this interview. Maybe people just seized on this moment and he thought like he had to respond. But he should have just said, as governor, I'm not going to have an immigration plan. I'm going to follow what the federal government tells me to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you should do. But instead, he was like, no, I will launch my whole own plan. It'll be generated by AI. It'll be beautiful. It's like, what are you doing? No, shut up. Just say Trump's in office. I'm going to do whatever he says.
That I agree with that wholeheartedly. If nothing else, this should be a lesson to every state level candidate to just stay in your own lane. Don't verge into issues that you don't have to deal with, that you don't have to talk about, and open yourself up to saying something that I would consider a little dumb.
Yeah.
Here's what I propose is I want to make Here's what I propose is I want to make conditional non-resident visas. And this would be, I'm going to actually talk to the president about this, but I want to start with Minnesota. These conditional non-resident visas, you would have 6 months. Anyone's here that is an illegal immigrant comes in, you get checked in the courthouse, you get fingerprinted, you get checked in to get this conditional non-resident visa. Now you have 6 months to do that. You're not a citizen, but you don't have to leave ever, as long as a couple of things happen. One is you can't commit a crime be convicted of a crime of a gross misdemeanor or better. Right now we have 1,300 people in Minnesota that are in our prisons that are illegal. We pay $110 million a year to house them. They need to be shipped out. Okay.
Yeah, but the president is not going to go for this.
Let me finish the plan, Esme. So you have this
observation.
And now at the end of the 6 months of these people,
in what world are we suddenly giving Esme Murphy credit all of a sudden? You got to be, and I have the video still up, and I'll continue it here in just a moment. But yeah, you got to be a special kind of Republican if you actually end up making like Esme Murphy coherent. Mm-hmm. You're doing something wrong. And let me just say before I continue, because I'm sure there are people that are getting really upset right now. There's a couple of things that can be true here. Okay. You can support Mike Lindell and his run for governor and not be in support of this plan. You can criticize this plan, still support President Donald Trump even though he gave his endorsement to Mike Lindell. You can disagree with the endorsement of Mike Lindell and still be a fan and a supporter of President Donald Trump, because a lot of times people want to divide all this up into being, exclusive. Well, if you are not for this plan, then you don't like Trump and you're not MAGA. And that's just simply not the case.
They want to go get a driver's license. They can go get a driver's license. But just like when I used to get DWIs, there was conditions on my driver's license. They will have to.
Did he just say, just like when I used to get to DWIs?
I mean, was that plural? Was that the best thing to bring up in an interview? Unprompted? I mean, if you're asked, that's one thing. But
I mean,
that's my favorite part.
All right, let's continue.
Have to get a driver's license, but they will have to learn to speak English and to read our signs here. Okay, that's going to be one of the conditions. Okay, if you want to drive it. Now, if you go to the line to be a legal citizen, then you go to the back of the line. But here's the thing: that line's going to be short, and there's going to be no cost. How are we going to pay for that? Here's how we're going to pay. During this 6 months, the employers that are paying cash at the end of that 6 months.
Okay, let me stop here, because I don't care how we're going to pay for it, because it's never going to happen, because it's stupid. Mm-hmm. Let me just say that up front. I don't care how we're going to pay for it. This is a dumb plan. So let's get into just a few of the details here. I know he laid it out, but the MyPillow founder, working off a story here from Alpha News, the Minnesota candidate for governor facing scrutiny, saying amnesty for illegals will only make Minnesota more of a target. This was a comment from gubernatorial candidate Lisa Demuth in the wake of this. I would expect this from Amy Klobuchar and Tim Walz, but I'm surprised to see it coming from a fellow GOP candidate for governor. She was referring to the Washington Examiner article, of which Esme Murphy was dovetailing off of, in which Lindell discussed his plan to institute a 6-month deportation moratorium in Minnesota to give illegal aliens the opportunity to get conditional work visas that never expire. According to the Washington Examiner, Lindell's plan would only give visas to illegal aliens without criminal records. Lindell explained, now you're not a citizen, you can't vote, but you can have this card that now you can work and you can go and pay taxes and be functioning in society. Lindell told the outlet that he is a person of second chances, and I'd like to see the whole United States do this, but let's say I did it here in Minnesota. This is a Democrat idea. This is not a Republican idea. This is just another version, much larger, of, say, driver's licenses for all. You shouldn't be able to have a driver's license, but we're going to go ahead and give you one anyways, even though you're here in the country illegally. And what's so amazing to me is there's no other way to describe this other than amnesty, and yet he and Philip Parrish are both pushing back, saying it's actually, no, let me take that back. Lindell's not saying it's not amnesty. He's saying call it whatever you want. You want to call it amnesty, go for it. I have a post here from Philip Parrish saying, and I like Philip Parrish. He's a friend of the show. And again, you can disagree with people's ideas and still like the individuals and even go and support their campaigns. But he's actually going so far as to push back, saying the claim circulating is that this supports 6 months of amnesty. This is fake news. Before I get into the details here, let's go back to Grace and Catherine. What are your current thoughts on what you heard from Mike Lindell and of this plan?
Well, I think to give him the most amount of credit, maybe he's coming from the perspective of a business owner, maybe, who is relying on the work of possibly illegal immigrants, as a lot of business owners do and shouldn't. But then to take that seriously. And there are some like libertarian types who will say, we need that. Our workforce is going to be in big trouble if we deport all of these people who are in our workforce. It could collapse. The problem with it is that in the America First movement, which I think we all consider ourselves to be part of, and we thought Mike Lindell may have been part of, the prime thing here is that we're prioritizing Americans and American workers. And what he's saying is he wants to replace American workers with people not from America. And so fundamentally, that's not American First. It's clearly amnesty. He said in that interview that these people can stay as long as they want, is actually what he said, which is crazy. They can get IDs. They can do all sorts of stuff. That is amnesty. There's no other way around it. And everything I've seen from Philip Parrish trying to describe how this isn't amnesty is just a long explanation of amnesty.
I'll be honest. I'm still stuck on how he could, because what he's saying is this is what he would do for just the state of Minnesota if he became governor.
Now he's gone back, and you can leave it on Grace for a moment, because I'll be quick. He's gone back and actually said that he understands now, because somebody probably went and told him, that he can't do this as governor. So he's clarified on that point.
So he's saying he's going to go pitch this to President Trump.
Exactly.
Okay, so gubernatorial candidate from Minnesota is going to sell the president on this brand new federal policy that affects all 50 states.
Yeah.
That's his plan.
Yeah, that's the idea now.
Okay.
That he would like to see it adopted. Now that apparently he's been told that he cannot do this as governor here in the state of Minnesota.
Because that was my
unforced errors.
That was my sticking point. Exactly. Is why bring this up? Because it's not the same thing as, giving driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. It's affecting their status here in this country. I don't understand.
Well, and
who in his campaign said that this was even a possibility or a good thing to go campaign on?
The concept of what he wants to do. So let's drop back. Let's drop back and look at what he's trying to address. We have illegal aliens in this country, and we have way more than we've ever had, even despite Trump's deportation efforts, because the Biden administration let all of these individuals into the country illegally, intentionally, because they wanted to create another voting bloc. This is not conspiracy anymore. This is not rumor. This is what happened. There's no denying that. Okay, Trump's been doing his best to go and take care of this. So first off, under Mike Lindell's plan, it just exacerbates and sets up a scenario to do exactly what the Democrats want. You can move forward on this, and let's say they implement it. You don't think for a second that suddenly now this non-citizen resident visa, that illegals who didn't commit acts of crime aren't going to be a focus of Democrats in power to remove the non-voting part of it? You've now established a baseline where you have a Republican or Republicans who have justified individuals coming into the country illegally. Oh, but we're not going to go and let them vote, just like we're not going to give them driver's licenses, and then we did anyways.
And then they are automatically registered to vote when you're in Minnesota and they get a driver's license. I mean, it's things like that. You're exactly right. It legitimizes their status here, even if it's not as a full citizen.
So how do you go about addressing the problem? And I think Trump has been on the right track. First off, you remove the criminal illegal aliens here in the country, right? We saw the pushback. We know what's ensued since then. But that's what you do. And I continue to be an advocate of the forced attrition approach. We are a nation of laws, and a lot of those laws pertaining to the security of the country focus on individuals who came into the country illegally, who disrespected the sovereignty of this nation. If you enforce those laws to their fullest extent, relating to what illegal immigrants cannot take advantage of because they did not respect the laws of our country, you do that on a long enough period of time, and you're going to see the problem remedy itself. For individuals who decided to come here illegally, they're going to find it no longer advantageous to be here. That's the point. It's like anybody else. It's like any business. You have doors locked for a reason on your business so people just don't go and walk in. And if they walk into your business and the doors are locked after hours, you're going to have them arrested and booted. You're not going to give them, well, listen, I'll give you a right to come into my store. Just make sure you don't go and take anything, okay? Mm-hmm. That's how – it's a long-term gain. But all this does is go and establish a baseline of justification for individuals who did not respect the laws of this country in the first place, which makes it so ridiculous that they're even attempting to go and spin this as anything other than amnesty. And again, I don't know if this was an unforced error and he's stuck in a moment he can't get out of, or whether, as I have here in a couple of stories, one from the Daily Wire, new Republican amnesty bill ignites the ire of hardliners. This is one relating to giving visas to those who are working in agriculture, to what you were saying a moment ago. Then there's an editorial out of also the Daily Wire from Ryan Girdusky, who says, earlier this year, I formed a Homeland PAC, a federal super PAC, with the goal of holding politicians accountable for supporting amnesty for illegal aliens. I was almost immediately dismissed by the members of Congress and Washington, D.C. insiders because they believed the PAC was redundant in the age of Trump. Yet, we are 10 years into the Trump revolution, and still Republicans who waved signs claiming they support mass deportation are still campaigning for amnesty. Every 2 years, a block of Republicans in Congress quietly put their names on bills that would legalize those same undocumented persons, in direct contrast with President Donald Trump and the American people's agenda. So, like, did he come up with this on his own, or is he getting this from some other place? Because I feel like there's evidence here that this was not an idea born of Mike Lindell, but something that somebody handed to him because some focus group said, hey, this is something that's going to be really popular among some group of individuals. But clearly, I mean, not Republicans that are going to go and elect a Republican governor here in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, well, take the farm example. I think that wasn't that Don Bacon? I think it was his bill. And he is trying to defend his farm owners and really big agriculture in his state of Nebraska, I believe. But what that means is he's justifying these farm owners paying under the table for low-wage workers to work in their farms. And I understand that this is a hard thing to get people to work these days. I mean, the economy is in such a place that, it can be hard to find workers for things like farming. But we cannot rely on people being paid under the table, low wages in this kind of lower class sort of thing. That is not moral whatsoever. And so for people on both part of the right and the left to be defending that, I think is really kind of crazy. I mean, we can maybe address those problems in other ways, but seriously, this is what they're fighting for. A lower wage and underground work environment where these people are being paid under the table. That's what they want.
Yeah, it is interesting. That struck me as well the more I thought about this. It starts to feel a little exploitative or underhanded to give migrants a way to stay in a country, legally to benefit solely for the purpose of benefiting from their labor, and then not give them the benefits of citizenship, and then painting that as a better thing for them. I was thinking of a similar line, Catherine.
It's and you both are probably too young to remember this, but if we were living in a different dynamic here in America, right, where you didn't have one of the major parties looking to take advantage of, because this is an issue that used to cross party lines. When it came to illegal immigration and the desire to go and do something about illegal immigration, there are plenty of clips that you can go back and find not all that long ago. I mean, from your Clintons, your Obamas, that were sounding and talking like the Republicans are today regarding President Donald Trump's plan, individuals coming into the country illegally. What this reminds me of, though, is going back to Reagan and 1984, when Reagan was focused on the individuals coming into the country for agriculture and offering a pathway for individuals in an exchange for shoring up security at the border. And once again, back then, we didn't end up getting security at the border. It's very similar to now. A plan like this, maybe, I personally wouldn't want to examine it, but I can understand examining it if it were a dynamic of we were confident that the individuals who came here illegally are going to end up being majority, one, contributing members of society, and that, two, they're not going to be exploited for political gain. The Democrats have gone so far to the left, they need, and they're going to need, if they continue to go on this path, at least I'm hopeful that they're going to continue to need this. They're going to need a new voting bloc in order to continue to win elections, and they're banking on illegal aliens to be that voting bloc. And so with the dynamics in play, like I said, he's feeding right into that. And there's got to be people around him that understand how stupid this idea is, but yeah, they're still in support of it. I feel like there's a piece of this puzzle that's missing because, as I talked about at the start of today's show, and as you guys have focused on, and Center of the American Experiment has focused on, the key issues facing people here in Minnesota, immigration is certainly one of them, but not in this form. When I have a list of crime stories right now, they're talking about shutting down parks because of Somali gangs and issues like that. You look at the fraud issue, 90% from the Somali community. So sure, we have issues here, but this is a whole other thing that is not top of mind or needs to be addressed by the individual who wants to become governor of the state.
Yeah. Mic drop. I mean, seriously. I completely agree. And I don't know, it's frustrating because you feel like, I think Mike Lindell was framed as a candidate that was going to be like really on the right, really representing Trump, and Trump endorsed him. And, whatever, Trump is a loyalist to his core. He will stay loyal to the people who stayed loyal to him. Yeah. I think that that's just part of his personality and who he is. And I think it served him quite well, honestly, because he was burned so many times in his first administration by people who weren't loyal to him that now he says, okay, if we're loyal to each other, I got your back. And Mike Lindell has done that for him. But this, to me, feels like a major betrayal of the people who voted for Trump, of the people who have been America first, who have cared about what Trump's platform stood for. And you mentioned Reagan. I mean, that is the number one thing that Reagan is criticized for now, is that amnesty. And one of the number one things that kind of failed, right? He gave amnesty to all these people, and like you said, we didn't get border security.
Right.
So why would you take that and think, okay, well, now let's try that again? I don't get it at all.
You're right. It's very confusing from a brand perspective because Mike Lindell and his campaign is very much branded as, kind of a Trump surrogate for Minnesota, Trump at the state level. We know that they're friends, he's endorsed now. And so to go and break away from, basically Trump's trademark policy, one of his foundational pillars of his campaign and his presidency, to choose that to go and break out on your own is so confusing to me. When you're thinking about selling yourself to voters, I can't make sense of it. I do feel like I'm missing something.
In a primary situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is why I keep going back to either there's something bigger at play, right? And I know he's doing well in some of the polling. I question whether or not he can still win this primary. Maybe it's possible. If anything was going to doom those chances, it would be this particular issue. Or, again, if it was just something that he talked about that people grabbed onto and that suddenly exploded before, and now he's just doubling down on it. It won't relent from it. I'm not sure. And it's interesting to me because, and as I mentioned before, Philip Parrish, he's a friend of the show. I've had him on the show. I know he listens. Hopefully he'll listen to the new version of the show as well, despite what I'm about to go and say. But in this post that he put up overnight, let me go through this really quick. It says the claim circulating that Mike Lindell supports 6 months of amnesty, doing that thing with my fingers. He says this is fake news. What he actually says was fingerprint them, document them, vet them, so the government finally knows who they are. So amnesty. Because why are you doing all of that?
And then letting them go into the country, right?
Right. That's amnesty.
Right.
I'm not so concerned about knowing who they are. I would just like them not in the country unless they want to apply to come in legally.
Yeah, doesn't that seem like the government is endorsing their presence here?
Yes.
So he goes on to say, right now we don't even have their fingerprints. That is the chaos that has enabled the tragedies, the trafficking, the exploitation, and the underground economy for decades. Criminals, immediate deportation. No pathway to citizenship ever. No voting rights. Again, so amnesty. You're just talking about, you can be, and what I would say to Philip and what I would say to, I actually think Lindell, when he made the comment, call it whatever you want, was probably on a better path. Because Philip here saying that he's supporting 6-month amnesty is fake news, all I'm reading is justification for calling it amnesty, because that's what it is. You're deporting criminals, but not individuals who came here illegally that aren't criminals. You're letting them stay. What else do you want to call that? And what's interesting, though, he puts towards the end of the piece, and I want to get through the middle part here, but let me jump to the end, because he says, you come into the United States legally, after he breaks down these other different points of why he believes this is fake news. What they're trying to do here is an attempt to redefine what it means to be in the United States legally. That's what they're trying to do. So it's like this magic trick. That's usually what Democrats do, which is why I don't understand any of this. He's trying to go and play with the words, saying, no, they're here illegally. No, they're only here legally because you went and made them legal through this new cockamamie plan. First time I've ever used cockamamie on a radio show. Amazing.
It's a big day.
It is a big day. Mike's position has not changed. America first. This is not America first, in my opinion. Minnesota first. No. Our families first. No. The biggest part of this, it's a slap in the face to all of us here that have to follow the laws every single day. Every single day. I actually, in the stack that we'll get to, we have all the new laws that are starting on August 1st. I've highlighted some of the funner ones because most of them are just boring and dumb. But these are all laws that we have to go in and follow. You know, you suddenly don't get a free pass because a politician just decided, well, this group of individuals doesn't have to go and, you know, as long as you don't vote, you don't have to go and, you know, we'll give you the ability to go and ignore these laws.
Don't vote doing that thing with my fingers.
Don't vote doing that thing. Yeah, that's... Sure, Mike, we're going to give legal status to all these illegal aliens, but we're going to make sure that they can't vote because, you know, there's no illegals that are voting now in our elections.
Nope.
There's no countries out there that are trying to take advantage of us, you know, like Trump didn't hold a press conference last Thursday talking about China's influence here in the United States, that everybody just conveniently ignored the fact that we had a major foreign adversary that has been directly peddling in propaganda, stealing voter information data, you know. But don't worry, we're going to legalize millions of individuals who came here illegally, but they'll never be able to vote. Give me a break. Give me a break. Getting back to Philip's post here, he says, clearly, no pathway to citizenship ever, and you can't vote. But isn't that, again, they're trying to redefine what it means to be, you're a resident, but you're not a citizen, and we're going to allow you to stay.
And again, it just starts to feel exploitative to me. You're keeping people here, again, just for their labor and not giving them a path to sit. It's exploitative on both sides. It's unfair to the American people who now have to have that, you know, dream of secure borders and law-abiding citizens only in our country ripped away from them by someone who is supposedly, you know, America first. And then it's also unfair to the people who are here illegally being taken advantage of for their cheaper labor and are never going to actually have a path to citizenship. This is, I can't get behind this at all.
I have more audio. This is, so in the wake of all of this, Mike Lindell went on another show to further explain. Oh my God!
Mistake number one.
To further go and explain what this plan is here on the John Justice Show.
Isn't it? If you're explaining, you're losing.
Yes.
Isn't that the saying?
And that's exactly what you're going to hear in this clip, presented by American Experiment.
Mike Lindell's a liberal now. Mike Lindell's went out to the other side. Different ones. Steve Bannon did a big post going, you know, what. I have to look into this. This is, you know, it hit me from every direction. It was trending. But I'm doing a big speech. I was up in Sauk Center, Minnesota, with one of our biggest rallies with CNN there, which they probably thought it was funny. It's out there going viral, and I can't even defend myself and talk about it because I'm at a rally and I'm there and I'm going here. I explained the whole thing in detail. I wanted to work something out where we could get these illegals documented, fingerprinted and stuff, because if you have them in the system, are you ready, everybody? Then they can't vote. If they vote, you've got them right there. You got them fingerprinted. You've got all their info in the system. All of a sudden, they show up on the voter roll and they vote. You're out of our country. That's it. You don't get to be here. Working here is a privilege. So when I had outlets like I had Esme Murphy, that was a month ago. There's soundbiting clips out of there when I was asked what I would do with ICE in Minnesota. And
let me pause it. Let me pause it here really quick. I understand the concept, but he's completely missing. Again, one, it's amnesty. Two, the majority of Republicans are never going to go along with this. And 3, the Democrats would go and exploit this in a heartbeat. Even for as admirable doing that thing with my fingers as this might be. I understand his point. He wants individuals coming out of the shadows. He wants them documented. That way he believes we can stop them from voting in our elections. But that ignores those other 3 points. It's completely void of reality. He's looking like maybe he's completely disconnected in his own bubble where he simply does not understand that what he is proposing does not in any way, shape, or form fit into the paradigm of modern politics relating to illegal immigration.
Yeah, also, like, in theory, if we just know who these people are, we can make sure they don't vote. Don't we know who all the citizens are? And then we could just look at the voter rolls right now and be like, all right, if your name's not one of our citizens, you don't line up, get out of there. Like, how is this? Don't we have the reverse information of this right now in his plan? And this would, I don't understand how this solves that problem.
I also don't understand. It sounds to me like he thinks that when you go to vote, you get your fingerprint taken. And, like, that's how they identify you. Like, if that was the system, this proposal would make more sense to me.
I would like that.
Well, and, you know, if we passed this thing called the Save America Act, this is all null and void. And so let's just go there. Dude, quit wasting your time talking about illegal immigration, running for the governor of the state of Minnesota, of which you have absolutely no power over anybody's immigration status. And why don't you instead, if you want to talk about national issues, start talking about how John Thune needs to get off his tuchus and go and get the Save America Act passed? Because if you pass that, then everything that he's proposing here, for as ludicrous as it is completely unnecessary.
Exactly.
I'm lost on all of this. And you know, the other aspect of this that is driving me batty is the fact that individuals seem incapable who talk completely different regarding illegal immigration of changing their tune on this. So, again, I mentioned Philip Parrish. I know he's a part of his campaign now, but I'm shocked this is coming from him. I heard what he was talking about on the campaign trail before he decided to join Mike Lindell's campaign. He wasn't speaking like this. I never would have thought in a million years that Philip Parrish would have gone on and supported a plan like this. You look at a guy like Royce White, who's Mr. Mass Deportations, Mass Deportations, Mass Deportations. What about Mike Lindell's plan to give amnesty to everybody? Oh, you're not listening to it correctly. Oh, you're not. That's not what he wants to do. That's exactly what he wants to do. So, you know, to a guy like Royce White, dude, where do you stand? Do you stand for anything? Because you're talking out of both sides of your mouth and you're sounding like a hack, which is why he's doing as bad as he is in the polling. Let's get back to the clip.
And obviously, it doesn't work to go door to door when you have, at least not in our state, we have, you know, because of the tragedies that happen, we have a big problem that needs to be solved. But in the meantime, we have employers paying illegal.
So is he? Oh my gosh! So this whole we can't go door to door. So we've seen the tragedy. So is he now on the anti-ICE? Is he now taking an anti-ICE angle? Because he's obviously referring to Good and Preddy and all of this. So is he saying, well, you know, we know what happened when that happens, and is this the stance that he's taking now?
Yeah, ICE can't do their jobs. We can't enforce the law.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
I feel like did somebody tell him you need to appeal to Democrats?
Yes.
Is that
That's the only way I can make sense of this.
Which is so confusing. He's in a primary. Mike Lindell, you're in a primary. Everything I'm getting from the only candidate in this race I'm really getting content from is Lisa Damath. And it is clearly geared towards Republicans, right? It is like she is trying to get me to vote. It is hardcore. It is good. And that's because she's running in a primary, right? That's just basic election politics. Why is the content we're getting from Mike Lindell like, oh, I'm moderating on the issue of immigration, the most important issue to the base?
The only way I can make sense of this strategy is he thinks that the Trump endorsement is getting him through the primary. And so he's already moved on mentally. And yes, now he's trying to appeal to middle of the road and left voters. That's my only guess.
But what an okay, so let's go with that for just a moment. Okay, there's more to this. We can play a little bit more here in just a moment. But let's go to that for just a moment because I think you're onto something. Because he is up in the polling. right, when it comes to the primary, all right? And Damon's been closing the gap, and Kendall Qualls has been sort of at a distant third in all of this. There's still time to make up ground, but this is where the polling is for whatever stock, little or a lot, you want to put into it. But let's go with this idea that he feels like he's going to win the primary, and he needs to appeal to Democrat voters. Why are you bringing it up now? Wait until you get past the primary, and then go and talk about this plan. If Mike Lindell is the nominee, I'll vote for him. I'll vote for pretty much any Republican over Laimi Klobuchar. Okay, so. I mean, maybe this goes back to the unforced error angle, Catherine, that you were making, because that makes more sense to me. So you're now the nominee for governorship of the state of Minnesota. You need to rally Republicans to your cause. Now, you may tick off a lot of them doing so, but they're still going to vote for you. And a lot of individuals will rationalize it in their mind, right? In the wake of having a choice between voting for Amy Klobuchar or voting for Mike Lindell, you don't want Amy Klobuchar. If you're not a supporter of Mike Lindell, it's the lesser of two evils. Then bring up your plan, because you maybe could appeal to some Democrats who maybe aren't fans of the senator of small things. And they're like, oh, listen, Mike's got an open idea regarding giving amnesty to illegals, and he's a Republican. Maybe I will go and vote for him. I can get behind that. But instead, he brings it up months out from the primary. Again, that makes no logical, rational sense to me.
No, I agree. He must think he's running in the general. I think that must be what's going on, which is interesting.
That he's going to win the primary regardless?
Yeah. That must be it, right? Because it's just the most confusing strategy. And again, I just am so confused why the only person I'm hearing from on my end, on my social media, coming to my house, is Lisa Dameth. Where are the other people trying to win over my votes? I've been undecided for a while now about, both of these races. And I really like basically all of the candidates that are involved. And I feel like the only person who is asking for my vote has been Lisa Dameth. And I don't know if that's a money thing, and I don't know if that's what that is, but she's running a good primary. And I don't hear anything from these other people. Mike Lindell's never sent me anything. He's never tried to get my vote, and now he comes out with an amnesty plan. Completely confusing, and I think, obviously, for me, disqualifying. That's all.
And again, what goes... Excuse me, briefly. What is so mystifying to me about this, again, just going back to the very basics, you have so many winning issues. If you're running as a Republican here in Minnesota in 2026, you have so much that you could be talking about that is so broadly... that has such broad appeal, from fraud to our failing education system to our economic struggles. Why are you talking about immigration? Just say you're going to follow the federal government.
Illegals are costing Minnesota $1.5 billion. Then you have $110 million worth of illegals sitting in our prisons here that have committed felonies and crime and rape and murder. Get them out of here. The mainstream media, they're not reporting this. They know that there was clips, and they know that it's an attack. And if they report it, they'd probably go. For some reason, they're not reporting it, all this amnesty. It's all social media, and it's all bots and trolls attacking me. People on the right, people, my friends. I got podcasters out there. I got Steve Bannon. I'm
not a bot, by the way. I just wanted to point that out.
I don't think I'm a troll.
No, I'm not really big on trolling. That's not really my style.
Remember, we do.
That's okay.
Remember, we don't have a all human guarantee or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Be AI.
That's right. We are not guaranteed human here on the John Justice Show.
Oh.
Presented by American Experiment. Yeah, we established that yesterday. That was a really dumb thing that Me Muscle did. The whole guaranteed human nonsense.
Well, and it's a good thing you got rid of that, because now one of the people in the studio is not a human. It's a
Oh, Shogru.
It's a Shogru.
Yeah, Shogru. Here, I'll widen out. We're done.
It's a baby Yoda.
We'll
what species is Yoda?
We don't know.
Oh, well, he's that.
Yeah,
he's cute.
He's that. I know that is Shogru. We had to move him, and now he's got an American Experiment button. Keeping with the theme of what we're talking about, though, there was a big rally that took place. This wasn't I don't think this was the recent one with Bernie Sanders. I think there was a rally for Democrats about a week prior. But Minnesota Attorney General Thief Ellison was making comments recently about non-citizens voting. And here is what he had to say.
Let me tell you, there's a whole lot of people who were not 18 years old in the last election. There's a whole lot of people who are not naturalized citizens in the last election. There's a whole lot of people who sat it out because of whatever reason in the last election. But you know what? We're going to get them all this election.
He's like Pokemon. We're gonna get them all. We're gonna legal and illegal, citizen and non-citizen voters.
What did he mean by that? Really, what did he mean? He literally meant we're gonna have illegals voting for us in this election. Just that shameless? Like, what?
Yeah, it underscores just how stupid that whole plan is.
It's so frustrating. And then you have our media in Minnesota will still come out and be like, no, Democrats don't want illegals voting in elections. They aren't voting in elections. Meanwhile, Keith Ellison is saying this. Other states are finding that they have thousands of illegals on their voter rolls. I mean, good grief. And they keep gaslighting us.
It is a dry run, Freedom Friday, here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment. We have lighter fare to talk about. I have local Costco news. I'm so very excited about this. It is Costco Friday, by the way. It's kind of a bummer though because I haven't been eating. I've been on. I'm getting svelte. So I've been trying to eat better. So I have not been partaking in the Costco pizza.
You're getting what?
Svelte.
What is svelte?
Thin. Svelte. Have you not heard that before?
No.
Yeah. Isaac svelte. Nope. Catherine.
Oh, I'm familiar with
Okay,
svelte.
so we got the age gap there. We figured it out.
Oh, man.
There we go. We
Old
figured
lady.
it out. We figured it
Dang
out.
it.
Right. So there's about a decade.
I should have lied.
There's about a decade right in there where svelte fell by the wayside, and the younger 20-somethings are unaware what's.
I'm a 20-something for a couple more days. Thank you very much.
I apologize there. All right. So we have Costco news. We also know why driving the speed limit may be the key to saving the planet.
Oh. That's what I thought this whole time. I knew it.
Plus new Minnesota laws that take effect on August 1st. So we're going to get into those in just a moment on the show. First off, though, let's revisit some more social media posts, and these specifically. There's one here regarding Attorney General Keith Ellison. Again, you can follow me and Center of the American Experiment on multiple social media outlets. And since you're listening to this prior to the official launch of the show on Monday, remember that you can listen to the show live at AmericanExperiment.org. There'll be a link available right there at the website. Also on the MixLR app, MixLR. It is completely free. You already deleted the Me Muscle app, so just replace it with the MixLR app and just search for American Experiment and John Justice. You will find it there. Plus, we will be live on multiple YouTube channels, on Instagram, Rumble, X, and Facebook as well. So you're going to have a lot of different locations, no matter where you are on the internet or in your car, or just walking around. You can listen Monday through Friday, 6 until 9 a.m. to the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment.
President Donald Trump threw his endorsement behind MyPillow founder Mike Lindell in the gubernatorial race here in Minnesota. And I want to talk about specifically the problems that this causes. First off, I'm not surprised that Trump threw his endorsement behind Lindell. He and Mike Lindell are friends. Donald Trump is not on the ground here in Minnesota to know the specific dynamics of the GOP candidates for governor here in Minnesota. So it doesn't shock me at all that Trump went and threw his support behind the MyPillow founder. I wish he hadn't, because the problem is going to be regarding the commentary around the existing gubernatorial candidates who may be better than Mike Lindell and may be more electable than Mike Lindell. You see, up until this point, if you're critical of any of the candidates, we're heading towards a primary. We already had controversies coming out of the GOP convention in Duluth a month or so ago regarding the ridiculous endorsement process. And so we already have a lot of division within the GOP because of that controversy relating to the endorsed candidates or candidate and the individuals that are going to take this to a primary. President Donald Trump's endorsement of Mike Lindell, it really just goes and gunks up the machine even more so than it already was. If you were critical of Mike Lindell before, it wasn't that big of a deal. There are already divisions, and people support who they support, and we'll sort it out in the primary. And I will certainly vote for Mike Lindell if he ends up being the nominee for the GOP. Unfortunately, now with President Donald Trump's support, a lot of individuals are going to go and look towards Mike Lindell. And if you're critical now of the MyPillow founder, unfortunately, a lot of people are going to immediately say that you're anti-MAGA, you're anti-Trump if you don't support Mike Lindell. And that just simply isn't the case. So my encouragement to anybody watching right now is support who you want to support. But as I always say, do not go and criticize or overly criticize or get angry with somebody if they don't support the same GOP gubernatorial candidate or any of the other candidates in the GOP races for later this year. Do not go and throw the baby out with the bathwater. Encourage everybody to vote for whoever the nominees actually are after the primary, but let's not get bloody in our frustration and go to battle with individuals simply because they don't support your candidate. And it especially rings true if you don't support Mike Lindell. It doesn't mean that you're anti-MAGA or anti-Trump. It just means you have a differing opinion over, one, who's more electable, and two, who would be a better Republican governor. All right, big announcement coming up on July 25th on the steps of the Capitol. The American Experiment America 250 block party taking place. I'll be speaking there and making that big announcement regarding the future of the show. I can't wait to share with you the details. So hopefully you're at the event. Head on over to AmericanExperiment.org and you can get more details and let them know that you're going to be attending the event. And of course, if you're not able to make the event on the 25th, we'll be putting all the information out on social media where you can go and check out the show. So thanks for watching. Yeah, what that guy said. It is the John Justice Show presented by American Experiment. Center of the AmericanExperiment.org. You will be enjoying this podcast or video after the American Experiment block party taking place on Saturday. We're making the big announcement of Monday's launch, and it really has been it's been a really cool experience going through and putting all of this together. It's taken some trial and error, but like we said, if this were easy, everybody would be doing it at this point in time. I'm not even joking. I feel I'm reluctant to go and make comments like this because it's so stereotypical of an individual who has sort of shifted course within a career to prop up the thing they're doing now versus the thing that they were doing before. And I don't want to sound cliche in what I'm saying here, but I really legitimately believe, and I was having a conversation with Katrin Wigfall yesterday out in the hallway about this, that radio is changing, and what we're seeing regarding terrestrial radio is very much in line with what we saw when it came to your over the air television, where it all shifted over to streaming. I think radio has taken longer to deal with this particular issue, but now it has arrived. I know a lot of people that still work in music radio, but I can tell you firsthand, my sons, like I was talking to Kyle, he doesn't own a radio. I don't think he's ever turned on the radio in his car. Listen, his father was a conservative news talk show host on an AM station that had an FM, and he's like, what's AM? Like, he didn't even know.
Yeah.
And I thought, I really had an expectation that talk radio would last a little longer and that it would be music radio that would be the first to go. And what I kind of failed to realize about that, though, is that the music radio side of things has already changed considerably because the only real music radio hosts you have left are those that are hosting successful morning shows. And right now, I actually think that like country morning shows are probably the shows that are going to have the most longevity, but I think there's even a shelf life on that because there's this, especially major country morning shows, because if they're well connected within the community, and especially here in Minnesota, there's a vibrant country community, that there's a direct connection there that kind of establishes the country community with this country morning show, even though
You know, I couldn't tell you the last time I listened to traditional radio for music, right? And now you don't have all those other hosts throughout the day that are hosting shows. They're all one person that's piped into a gazillion stations, which is what ended up happening with me and talk radio. But what we're doing here in providing a podcast, providing a video element, but also that live element Monday through Friday, 6 to 9, that was crucial for me to replicate. I really do think that this is where you're going to see talk content be in the very near future. And I'm just excited to, I know they weren't the first ones to do it, obviously, but I'm just excited to kind of be at the forefront of being able to do this as I continue my career. And I cannot thank Center of the American Experiment enough for, for bringing me on board and having the same vision that I had.
Yeah, it has been, I will just say personally, John, such a joy to have you in the office. And also from my perspective, I've been at American Experiment for 6.5 years now. Seeing it grow has been incredible. And just seeing the way that conservatives have been able to find their own kind of footing in this media landscape in Minnesota, where not that long ago we had really no options. We had a far left mainstream media that was the only way to get your news. And now you look at the options that we have been able to bring conservatives, and it is incredible. Finally, people can get real commentary and news that they can rely on. And that was one thing that people trusted you for, John, of course. And so it's an honor to have you bringing that to American Experiment. We knew it was crucial that people continued getting that news. And I'm just glad that they can keep getting it through us.
I am really, really curious. I don't know what your guys' I don't know what your thoughts are to Catherine and Grace as she makes her way back in and Isaac. I'm really curious what the listener's response is going to be. I've been sharing logos online. Some people were clever enough to go and figure things out. And of course, by the time you're listening to this, everybody will know it at this point in time. But they don't know the specific details. A lot of people don't know that we're going to be live Monday through Friday and how we're going and facilitating all of this. So I'm really curious what the listener's response is going to be. There's a part of me that believes the listener understands the reason for the change and that the radio element is not going to be important to them anymore. But there's also a possibility that might be the case. I just don't know yet. And I think we'll know a lot more. Well, again, by the time you're listening to this, we'll know a lot more. But come Saturday, come tomorrow. Oh, my gosh, it's tomorrow. I got to finish my speech.
That is crazy.
Holy cow. I just forgot. I'm really curious to see what the response is from those when they find out exactly what it is that we're doing. Grace, your expectations of how you think the people are going to respond?
I think people are going to be thrilled. I mean, I think most people's fear when you went off the radio was that you weren't going they just simply weren't going to hear from you anymore. And so the fact that you are continuing the show, that you are continuing it in a live format, doing this, I mean, kind of, pioneering show that we're doing right now, where it's a podcast, but it's live. And, we really are trying to keep it as much the same as possible. And I think that people are going to really appreciate that. I would be shocked if there was a sizable group who were upset that you weren't on, strictly on the airwaves anymore. I think that people are going to be relieved and really excited to see, how much has stayed the same, and yet also the cool new things that we're doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited for the people who will find your show because they know how to go on X and open up their X account, but they don't. I didn't know the radio in my car and how it worked until I started, listening to your show. And then I was like, I got to figure this out. I got to figure out how to get radio in my car. So I think there's a lot of people in that category, especially younger people. I think you can reach a brand new audience in addition to hopefully keeping that entire incredible community you've already built up that are really dedicated to the show. And it's incredible to see.
Yeah, this has been it's been a unique experience going through all of this here. I went through something similar before I came to Minnesota because I was in Tucson for 9 years, but I left. I just got up. I came here. I left the state, and there wasn't a thought about staying at the time. That was the plan. That was the plan all along, and this has been a unique experience and a response that I did not anticipate when Me Muscle came in and said your services are no longer No longer needed. There is such a divide over me muscle, by the way.
I can't get behind it. I am sorry. Every time I hear it, I just... Ugh.
It's a male-female thing, I think is what it is.
Isaac, are you pro me muscle then, Isaac?
I think so. I'm undecided.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jeff O'Brien was pro me muscle. My wife is not pro me muscle.
Yeah, see?
Well, never.
We'll leave it at that.
Never.
Wait, I don't know if I get it.
Okay, so you know my former employer.
Yeah.
It's blank blank. John Justice used to work for blank blank. I was trying to think of a different way to say that.
Oh, blank blank. I was thinking blank blank blank, and then I was like, where did the... Okay.
So I could say me muscle radio.
Okay, nope, I get it.
You deleted the me muscle app.
I get it.
I just can't get behind it.
Well,
Sorry, guys.
Give me a different way to say heart.
I'll workshop it.
What's a different way? Because heart's a muscle.
Do you remember the Nickelodeon shows where they used to have the pair phones? Does anyone remember those? Instead of an Apple phone, it used to be the shape of a pear.
Oh my gosh, I do.
Yes.
This kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I'm behind the concept. Don't get me wrong. I just am reacting negatively to the phrase
I know.
"me muscle"
It sounds
being
weird.
uttered so frequently.
It does sound a little creepy.
There's something better for heart.
Me kidney?
Well, no, but it's not a...
Me
brain.
Just give me another word for heart. What is another word? You know what?
Smart?
Hold on. No, it needs to relate.
Me smart.
All right.
Me smart.
Me good.
Let's go to thesaurus. Okay. We're just going to do this on the fly.
Me soul.
Hold on.
Oh.
Me love.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
These are all stupid, by the way. These are all advocating for me muscle.
Okay. So these are the strongest synonyms. Okay, for heart, character.
What?
Feeling, love, nature, and soul.
Oh, no. We need like an actual heart, right?
Yeah.
Not like doing something with heart.
Right. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, the physical. That's right. So thesaurus is not extrapolating.
Not super helpful.
Oh, here we go. No, none of these work either. I could just say I heart and be done with it. I suppose I just did. So, all right, let's go here. I was doing my prep this morning for the show, and I saw this. And this is funny to me because I've been wondering what in the world's going to happen to this location, and now I have an answer. So, are either of you familiar with the Costco in Coon Rapids at all?
No, sir.
No.
None at all. Okay.
Costco. I've been to the one in Chaska.
Sure. Okay. So the Costco in Coon Rapids, there's a lot of infrastructure around it, like most Costco's have, right? There's like a shopping center and outside stores and all this. There's an orange gym and there's a Kohl's there and all this. There's a empty TGI Friday that's right there on the corner next to Costco, which always surprised me. Like, it's like that is a very busy business district, and yet TGI Fridays couldn't survive.
That's kind of a dying breed of restaurant, though, isn't it?
I think they all went out of business, didn't they? Because the same thing in St. Louis Park
all
over there.
All the TGI Fridays went under?
Well, I don't know. The one in St. Louis Park did, and it was just this empty building that looks exactly like a TGI Fridays,
right.
you know? But they just stripped off all of the branding. But I just saw it. I think a restaurant bought it, so.
Well, and they opened a Golden Corral just down the street in that same area, and it didn't last either, which blows my mind because I love me some Golden Corral. What? You're not a Golden Corral fan?
What is a Golden Corral?
What do you mean, what is a Golden Corral? All right, Grace, Golden Corral?
Mm-mm. Wow. Is it like one of those buffet places?
Wow, yes. No. Isaac, Golden Corral.
Hard pass.
Heard of it. Don't think I've ever been.
I think I can picture the logo.
Well, now
weirdly.
I know why Golden Corral did not make it in Coon Rapids.
I can get behind a buffet, though.
It's fantastic.
Lord knows I can.
No, so good.
Buffets.
It did not penetrate to this generation.
Okay, what about Sizzler?
What?
I think you're doing like a southern thing, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't think we have these up here.
Sizzler?
Golden Corral's new to
I've
Minnesota.
Never heard of that one.
Oh, my gosh. I'm surrounded by young people. All right. Since you guys know TGI Fridays, I'll stick with my story. Costco has purchased the former TGI Fridays building in Coon Rapids for $5.5 million, which is shocking to me because it's not a very big building.
That's a lot, yeah.
The purchase is going to allow Costco to combine the plots. They tell great stories at Costco. Nothing? I lost the plot. Oh, man alive. It's a good thing this is a dry run show. Okay, I'm just going to make a list. Don't do those jokes.
We're going to cut that.
At least not with this audio.
We're going to cut that.
We'll put that on the show that didn't occur the first hour, right? It's going to double, and then what they're going to do is they're going to double the size of its gas station, which is good news because the gas station is located right at the entrance.
Nice.
And if you go there on a busy day, everything gets backed up.
Yeah.
They're adding 128 parking spaces. The TGI Fridays building will be demolished, and the gas station will be relocated to the southwest corner of the property. This is completely self-serving, but I could not be happier about this news.
That is awesome.
They paid $5.5 million for more parking spaces?
Yeah.
Wow.
And better gas station location. That's critical.
This is what the song was named after. They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. That's what.
Nope.
Nothing again.
Too young. Sorry.
Nothing.
No, that one I get.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if that's worse that I got it and didn't.
Wow.
I hate that song, by the way. Can't stand this. Was that Joni Mitchell?
Very polarizing song. I like it. I don't know, but I hear that reaction a lot of people who.
That's not my genre. It's not really. I think it's Joni Mitchell, right?
Well, I like the Counting Crows version. Didn't they do it?
Yes, they did.
Where it's a little more upbeat.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. 100%. Yeah, their version's better.
Yeah,
their version's better than the OG. We've lost Catherine and Isaac. Isaac, no,
Nothing.
Okay. All right. Speaking of fueling up your car, let's go here. Study finds a study analyzing over 120 million vehicle trips found that speeding costs the U.S. over 18 million and 50,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide pollution daily. I don't care.
Already you've lost, because that quantity, I have no concept of the quantity of carbon that we're talking about. That could be not that much carbon.
Right.
All I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we need more carbon.
Yeah.
I'm pro-carbon.
Pro-carbon?
I'm pro-carbon.
Good for breathing, right?
Sticking to speed limits. It is good for breathing. Truer words will probably not be spoken on this dry run Freedom Friday show. Sticking to speed limits could save over 6 million gallons of gasoline daily, with only a 54-second increase in average travel time. The study highlights the negligible time savings of speeding compared to its significant environmental economic skills. Okay.
15 seconds?
54 seconds.
Oh.
54-second increase.
Worth it.
Only a 54-second increase in average, 54-second increase in average travel time. I am not interested at all in the global warming carbon output aspect of the story. What I do find fascinating, and it's very self-serving because of the trip that I just went on, but what I do find fascinating is I've learned, because my algorithm ended up, I watched a couple of videos on this on social media, so my algorithm started spitting at me a bunch of other videos. I didn't realize how little you did actually gain by speeding to a location, even on a long trip. When you break down the math of increasing your speed, even by 10 miles an hour, the length of time that you end up cutting out to meet your destination, it's not worth it.
Give me numbers.
We're talking minutes.
Over 10 minutes?
No, less than that.
Okay.
But that's not what you're gaining from speeding. What I gain from speeding is a sense of calm. If I have to be somewhere and I'm just kind of slowly chugging along, my anxiety builds and I get stressed. So if I'm speeding, I feel like I'm doing everything I can to get there,
Okay.
I've not heard that take before.
I have not heard that take.
I'm sorry, you wouldn't agree?
That's the correct take, though.
No,
that is the correct take.
I haven't heard that take, but I agree with that take.
If you're late and you're not speeding, you don't care about being there.
Right.
Now, see, I agree with that. I think it's the proposition that I speed not to get there faster. I speed to calm myself.
Yeah,
that's where you're losing me.
That's the weirdness.
No, but it's you're doing everything you can.
Yeah, I know. I just mean I know that I'm not going to get there that much faster because I'm trying to beat my GPS, and you never really do. Your GPS ETA is pretty much always going to be when you get there, even if you're totally speeding the whole time.
Right.
My experience. However, and so I know that. However, if I'm not speeding, I'm just anxious about not speeding, and that and so that's why I speed.
So we're on our travels, because I got a lot of little elements to add in here, right? So we're 10 states, 10 days, here to Arizona, to California, and back, 2 different routes, somewhat southern, somewhat northern when we came back. We left my mom's house in Prescott, Arizona, and we were heading to Southern California. It's about a 6-hour drive. Now, we were pulling 12 to 15-hour days driving. I mean, there was a moment every single time we did a leg of anything over 10 hours. By the time we hit like hour 11, this switch got flipped in both me and my son Kyle, where we just went to Loopyville. I don't know if it was just the road going by, just sitting there behind the wheel, but there was this moment where we both suddenly were just not making sense. We weren't angry, but we weren't coherent. And this is the moment where I'm trying to figure out where we're going to stop and what hotels we're going to use. And I'm on the phone in the car with Melinda while she's looking ahead to try to find places. And we're just in here cracking jokes and all this. And she's like, why are you guys laughing? We're trying to find a place for you guys to stop.
Every story about your wife, I'm like, wow, a woman's a saint. I know.
Yeah, she's so incredibly patient.
You can deal with this yourself.
Oh,
you crazy people!
Oh, that happened. Oh, that absolutely happened. There was a moment where, and she's listening right now. I know she goes, "Oh no, I remember that happened," because she was done. She didn't want to help me anymore. So Kyle and I are heading to California, and I wanted to get there as quick as possible, and we were trucking. Right, we're on back roads, desert roads, just flying. And we had a whole routine worked out. You know, Kyle was able to figure out, I hadn't messed with any of it, but Monty's got all those driver assist items, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure you have it. I know you have a new car. You probably do it in your car as well. But the lane assist and the cruise control that keeps you at a certain distance of the vehicle in front of you.
So cool.
I'd never messed with any of that. And Kyle, in the first couple of hours, is like, he's looking at the manual. If you do this and you do this, we can do this. And he gets in the car and he's utilizing all this stuff. I'm in the back trying to sleep at one point. I don't even think his hands are on the wheel. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm on cruise control on this lane assist.
He's like, Monty's got it.
I don't got to do anything. Monty's got this all taken care of.
You guys, I just got this new car, and it has all of that, but they've added this little, doodad where it watches you.
What?
It's not a camera, but it does sense you to make sure your eyes are paying attention.
Oh, wow.
Mine gets mad if I take my hands off the wheel.
Monty
I don't think
gets
it's
mad at me too.
Tracking eye movement.
I don't know. That's all the guy really told me. He was like, oh yeah, that just makes sure you're alert and your eyes are focused. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Monty told me when Monty decided I needed to take a break. And I had a little, I'm not even kidding you. I had
what?
We hit, I think it was hour 13 one of the days.
Oh my.
And I'm driving and suddenly my speedometer goes black, right? The screen, it goes black. This little coffee cup pops up with a little steam graphic, and it says, you should probably take a break.
Seems like good advice.
None of this happened. This was all a hallucination induced by the 13 hours of driving.
Happened twice. Monty's telling me to take a break again.
Oh my gosh.
That's like my Oura Ring. You have one of those, a watch, Oura Ring, anything like that?
I got a watch.
Okay, yeah, it'll be time to stretch our legs a little bit after I've been watching TV for a while.
I listened to those for the first month of having my watch, and it still tells me, but I've not listened to it since.
Yeah, no.
I had a mood ring growing up. I never had an Oura Ring.
Mood rings.
I know.
Oh.
I miss my mood ring.
Yeah.
So we're flying down. We're flying through the desert, trying to make good time, right? And this was probably the part of the trip where I thought we're gonna make it there so quick, right? It's gonna be fantastic. And the arrival time would not budge. Would not budge. I'm like, what in the world is going on? And then at one point, it started to go in reverse.
Oh dear.
I'm like, what? Am I going the wrong direction? What is happening? Well, I realized that we were cutting through the desert before we got on I-10, which is the major thoroughfare between Arizona and California. And there was bumper-to-bumper traffic on a Sunday morning that I was completely unaware of. I was like, stop. I'm like, My point is, all that time speeding, completely irrelevant. Didn't matter whatsoever. What surprised me, though, was the number of highways in rural America where the speed limit was 80.
Yeah.
Have you guys driven on those roads where it's 80?
The promised land.
So
South Dakota. You've been to South Dakota?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's 80, but everyone goes 100.
So here's the question that I have. Do you have? We'll go around. Isaac, we'll start with you, and then Grace, and we'll go Catherine. So when you're driving, do you have any self-imposed speed limit rules to your driving? What are your self-imposed speed limit rules?
I keep it under 100.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Nope.
That's my only one.
Not what I mean.
That's my only one.
Not what I mean. If you are going to speed, is there a max over the speed limit you're going to travel?
I've heard, yes. I try to keep it 10 miles an hour.
Okay.
10 to 12.
10 to 12? Okay.
I start getting nervous around 12.
Okay. Grace?
It depends. For a highway, that's what I think.
My sweet spot, I would say, is like 7 over, maybe 10 over if I'm feeling crazy. And if the speed limit's already pretty high. But I really don't like to go much beyond that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like in theory, I try and stay within 9, but that's in reality not always what happens.
So here's the debate that Kyle and I got into, and that is if the speed limit is the conventional wisdom is that law enforcement's not going to pull you over if you're going under 10.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing 11, you're going to get busted. I think it's all just a myth, anyways. But that's sort of
depends where you are,
right?
No, I think that's true.
But
I've heard 10% of the speed limit.
Well, that's way too much math. I'm in the middle of driving.
It's 10%.
Yeah, but your super smart car should be able to figure out.
Yeah.
Whatever's looking at you, and they're just ask it.
Speed limit's 60. It's just 6. It's not that hard.
Okay, okay, that's a good point. I've
It's increments of 5, Catherine.
Yeah, 65, then it's 6.5.
So here's my question, though. If the speed limit is 80, does that still apply? Because, see, my argument is, and this is, so the reason why I bring it up is because Kyle and I got into this debate because this is how we were conducting our trip. I was putting it like about 7 or 8 miles over. So when he was in control, when he was driving, it's funny how I worded that, when he was in control. I hate being the passenger in an automobile. So when he was driving, that was the standard that I said, listen, if you want to set the cruise control, 7 over, but don't go any over than that.
7. It's a sweet spot.
Yeah, right. Well, I was pushing more like 9, but if I get a ticket, I'm responsible. If he gets a ticket, I still have to pay for his. So but I was thinking, and he was like, well, why can't I go 7 over if it's 80? And my thought was, well, if I was a law enforcement officer and you're doing 7 over, if you're doing 87 and an 80, if I was a cop, I'd pull you over and be like, look, dude, the state already increased the speed limit to 80. You don't need to go much faster than that. Is my logic not? No?
You are alone in that.
Not no, huh? You still think the 10 over rule applies?
Faster, more. 80 is the way of the government to tell you they don't care.
Yes, that is correct.
If they set it to 80, they're like, we don't care.
Yep.
Yeah,
we just
we're
have
not
to give you a number.
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, as long as you're not racing, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how people, I think, take it. My only experience with this is really in South Dakota, where, no, seriously, if you're not going 100 on some of those highways, you're going to get, people are on your rear end.
Yeah.
And then you cross over the Minnesota state line down there, and it's like, slow down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you think it gives you more of a, you think you're still, let me just make it simple. You think you're still justified with the 10% rule, Isaac?
100%.
If not expected to. Genuinely, yeah.
I would be more worried about getting a speeding ticket, like going 75 or 77, I guess, in a 70 rather than 87 and an 80. There's no chance you get a speeding ticket going 87 and 80.
Yeah.
That's some conviction over there. Really?
Really.
I'm not willing to test that theory.
And it's Qatar, not Qatar.
I know that. I know. We cleared that up yesterday. So so check this out. I wonder if I can do this with visual aid. I can't. I have my cars here. I could do it. I've never seen this happen before. Okay? I've never seen this happen before.
I kind of want the visual aid.
You want the visual aid?
Well, you've got the cars right there.
I'll do the visual aid. Hang on.
Gosh.
Look at them.
I got my cars. All right.
Oh, he's got the cars.
My
on his
driver,
laptop.
my driver, Alex. I don't know if you guys heard it. My driver, Alex Bowman, made an announcement yesterday that he is retiring from NASCAR racing after next season. So hence why I'm wearing my.
Wait, is this like a Tom Brady announcement where it's like not really?
No, it is. Yeah. No,
Am I thinking of the right person who's retired like 4 times?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. He's absolutely Bowman's absolutely retiring.
Oh.
So I am, but I get to watch the rest of the season and next season. And the guy that I plan on following may be taking over his car, so that's kind of cool.
Oh.
So I left yesterday.
Don't pretend you don't know what that means.
The cars aren't like
Don't pretend
personal
you know
to-
what that means.
No.
I watched F1, okay?
Okay, so Alex Bowman, right? These cars here. Okay. He drives for Hendrick Motorsports. Hendrick Motorsports has 4 different drivers under their banner of Hendrick Motorsports, okay? Each of them has their own numbers. So you've got Kyle Larson drives the 5. You have William Byron drives the 24. Chase Elliott drives the 9. And Alex Bowman drives the 48. Okay? So if a driver retires, they have to find somebody to fill the seat of that car.
Oh, interesting. I always thought it was more the driver was attached to the car, but you're saying it's the sponsor who's attached to the cars?
It used to be like that in the early part of NASCAR. They were just one-car teams, and so it was more. But now these are like franchises where drivers will go in and out. So it's not unlike a quarterback being traded from one team to another. Now he's in another uniform, probably got a different number.
Got it.
I leave work yesterday, and I'm heading up. And you got to forgive me. What's the freeway going up to Maple Grove? The big one, with all the lanes, right here.
494.
You pull out and go right.
Yes.
494 north.
494.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got my visual aid right. I did this yesterday with Melinda. She was not. She was so enthused. So This is me and Monty. Okay. So I'm here. Let me move my laptop.
This is going to be great on audio.
I know, it's gonna be, I know this is fantastic for the podcasters, right?
Good time to plug the YouTube.
That's right. Thank you for doing so. Okay. So I'm in the center lane. There's a car just ahead of me to the right in the right-hand lane, right? Okay. There's a woman in an SUV who's kind of splitting the difference. Okay.
Feels like you didn't need to say the gender, but carry on.
Well, she was. So we're kind of I gotta remember, she's a little bit ahead of me as we're coming up on this car in front, right? And she starts speeding up, clearly with the intent of trying to switch and go into my lane. But she's running out of room because I'm closing the gap to the woman in front of me. You follow me?
Yeah, I love doing this to people.
So I'm watching her hedge her bets. I'm like, you know what? There are circumstances wherein I would have sped.
Me every time.
And been like, no, lady, you're not getting, or whoever, I didn't know it was a woman at the time. So you're not getting in front of me, but I didn't. I was trying to be good, right? I maintained my speed, even though I was closing the distance to the car that was ahead of me in the right-hand lane. And she keeps hedging her bets and hedging her bet. And at some point, there was no room for her to get in front of me anymore. And she decided to go for it. And in that moment, for some reason, she realized, like, there was maybe half a car length between the two of us in separate lanes. I have never seen anybody have to go and slam on the brakes to keep from hitting the car that was in front of her. Because she floored it to get in front of me, realized she couldn't make the lane switch, and then had to slam on the brakes and
oh my
gosh, on the freeway to keep from hitting the vehicle that was in front of her.
Oh, wow.
And it was so funny. She must have been embarrassed because after that, I just watched her car slowly fade into the distance as she slowed down, realizing that she made a stupid, stupid mistake.
That's humbling.
Wow.
I'd never, ever seen that happen before.
That is really scary.
It was really, really funny. So don't speed over 80. That's the takeaway.
That's a bad takeaway. That's a bad takeaway.
Wasn't the visual aid? Wasn't the visual aid fantastic?
Visual aid was great. I understood this much more.
We did not get a single ticket on our trip. I was so proud of us.
Nice.
We burned the wheels off the car, but we did not get a single ticket on the trip. I was very, very excited about that. Do you guys speed? Just generally speaking, are you speeders?
Just like a little bit. Just like a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourselves good drivers?
I would, but I was voted probably 3rd or 4th best driver in my family of 4.
How many?
Is this an annual thing?
Just every once in a while we do a little check-in.
All right.
My mom is the worst by far.
I'm a great driver, and I speed. I'm a great driver because I'm aggressive, and so sometimes if you're driving.
Oh, that's all just in your head.
No,
that's all. I'm a great driver.
I'm a great driver.
I know I'm a great driver.
I
You
am.
can't tell me any different.
I am. I'm a great driver because I'm aggressive and sometimes speed.
I will do my best to never get into the car with my 24-year-old son, Logan, ever again with him driving.
There's people like that in this office.
Yeah.
If I'm being transparent.
I mentioned it on the show yesterday, but I literally burnt the wheels off of Monty. The right rear tire down to nothing, just just fried it, even though we checked it because the roads were just so hot and just the amount of miles that we drove. So when I had to go drop the car off, Logan drove me home, and the place is only like 5 minutes from my house. I'd never been so terrified. I mean, I just did 10 days, 5,000 miles with my son Kyle, who's 19 years old, and not a moment was I as terrified as I was in the 4 minutes it took us to get home, because I'm sure that Logan cut a minute off the drive because he was driving like such a lunatic. And this is the guy that wants to be a pilot. I just keep thinking, dude, get into a plane. Go as fast as you want.
Yeah.
Because you're driving like an absolute crazy person. All right. Speaking of driving, this gives us an opportunity. Let me take a quick break here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment. Coming up, I do want to get into some of the new Minnesota laws taking effect. Also, I did have another story that I wanted to dive into, but it eludes me as to what happened to it. It's like, oh, yeah. Did you guys hear the comments from Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones?
No.
Okay, cool. They have a new album that came out. I'm not a Rolling Stones fan.
Really?
By any stretch. Yeah, they're still making music. That's right. 25th studio album.
How old are they?
Oh, he's got it. I think he's in. We'll take a look.
Gotta be
in the 80s. He's got to be in his 80s. Yeah, we'll take a look during the break. But he was making the rounds doing interviews, and I'm not surprised you guys didn't see this clip, because it's not one that's going to make it on mainstream media. But he had some very interesting comments about rock and roll icons that fall into the Rolling Stone genre and how political they've become.
Like him? Isn't he political?
No.
I might have seen this.
Yeah, he's not political, and that's the point. So we'll get into the Minnesota laws. We'll share that audio here on the show. Remember, if you want to leave a comment on the comment line, 612-584-4565, 612-584-4565. Jeff O'Brien, lawyer extraordinaire, he texted me earlier, by the way. He said that there is no other alternative for heart than muscle. So he still is a big proponent of Me Muscle. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I will say the show went over a lot better than Me Muscle did, so I am happy about that. All right, so let's take a quick break. But since we're talking about driving, it gives us an opportunity to share with you one of my favorite montages here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment and AmericanExperiment.org.
I've been to every corner of Minnesota, and there's nothing like it.
See those maps? Red and blue, and there's all that red across there, and Democrats go into depression over it. It's mostly rocks and cows that are in that red area.
I've seen how we help each other through the hard times.
But I've not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times.
But it's in these moments we have to come together.
I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. You bully the shit out of him.
And I'll never stop fighting to protect us from the chaos, corruption, and cruelty coming out of Washington.
Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner.
May his fat ankles find something today.
We do not have the luxury to fight amongst ourselves while that thing sits in the White House.
We can't lose hope, because I've seen what we can do when we work together.
Think of how easy it would be to be a damn Republican. Oh, what should I wear today? This stupid freaking red hat.
Cutting taxes for the middle class.
However, there are also taxes going up for most Minnesotans.
While also making the largest investments in public safety.
One of the few tweets we've had from any kind of official source tonight, and in my opinion, that is inexcusable. We have reached out to the governor, to the mayor of St. Paul, to the mayor of Minneapolis, both police chiefs. We are getting no response tonight.
We've raised graduation rates to the highest ever.
Most Minnesota students are falling behind state standards in math, and only about 50% of students are proficient in reading.
Crack down on fraud and protect our tax dollars.
Bribes, falsified records, and taxpayers charged to help dead people find housing.
Thousands of dollars for work that's not being done.
Fake meetings.
They just billed us for nothing.
Forged names.
I did not sign this legal document.
Homeless veterans.
I never met any of these people.
Dead people billed. Phantom services.
For that $14,000, you got what?
Nothing.
Now I'm hitting the road to listen to you and talk about our future.
What's wrong is our country's being stole by fascists and Nazis, and we're trying to do all we can to try and do it.
So, to listen to this, you're watching Facebook and X as well. So the idea from the start was if anybody were to ask where can I go and listen or watch the show, to be able to say, well, everywhere. We're trying to put it on as many platforms as possible, and it really has been a group effort. As I mentioned, Grace has been handling a lot of the website stuff. Isaac's been incredibly helpful, to say the least, in setting all of this up and also taking care of a lot of our graphics. And Catherine, speaking of graphics, everybody in the old show was always like, merchandise, where can I get a hat? Where can I get a ticker? Where can I get a T-shirt? Well, I didn't have any of that. Now we do. As a matter of fact, the mug's over here somewhere. Right here. I got it. We got mugs. We got a whole bunch of other items, though, too, right, Catherine?
Yeah, we will, although the first thing we're going to have is hats. Now, unfortunately, our samples have gotten lost in the mail.
Oh, no.
So
Conspiracy.
hopefully we'll get them by Monday. But if you donate $35 or more to AmericanExperiment.org to support our launch of the John Justice Show, you will receive an exclusive John Justice hat. It is beautiful.
It's really cool.
And, I want to say, too, that as we go about launching the show, grant us a little bit of patience as we work through all of this. I think we've got all of the bugs worked out. We did deal with a major technical snafu, but as somebody who believes that everything happens for a reason, there's I'm glad that it happened because we were able to figure out a couple of things that we needed to make sure that we took care of going into it. But it also helped me a bit with commentary because I joked to Isaac that I think we started the show over like 3 different times. And the first time, by the third time when I opened the show, I said in probably about 5 minutes what took me probably 25 in that opening segment. So it helped me out as a talk show host. So I was very pleased about that.
Yeah, you got to get back in the groove, don't
Yeah.
you? It's been
a month. It's been a month today.
Wow.
It was 1 month today when the door opened at 9 o'clock and management walked in, and that's never happened. And I knew that they were there. Just basically said, your services are no longer needed. Okay. See you later.
I heard that just happened to a guy at ESPN. Did you hear about that? Where they did all these layoffs at ESPN and they laid off a guy during a commercial break who was on TV.
What?
Apparently, I actually heard Michelle Tafoya talking about this on Morning Wire. Apparently, it was being told to them by reporters that they were going to leak it, and they freaked out and said, we don't want him to look down at his phone while he's on air and realize he got fired. And so they just, during a commercial break, were like, we got to do it now so he doesn't find out from someone else.
That's
and they fired him
crazy.
during a commercial break.
I feel like and I have no basis. I have no basis to this is just a gut feeling. But I feel like the protocols around letting people go have changed a lot. My guess is because it's happened more often. To your point, Disney, which is affiliated, ABC is affiliated with ESPN. Mm-hmm. They just went through a massive round of layoffs. I was reading about this yesterday. I mean, this is indicative of the world changing and entertainment changing and the whole, everything that I talked about before regarding radio changing and the dynamics around that. And no media outlet is immune to all of this, but I feel like the standards of letting people go have really gone down to where it's just like very unceremoniously, and a lot of them done in mass waves. And like you said, even letting somebody go in the middle of doing their gig, for crying out loud.
Well, I will say, on the other hand, too, I think people are less committed to their jobs than ever before. Like, you'll see, everyone in my generation thinks like, oh, yeah, if I spend like a year at a job, that's good. That's basically what I owe them. And, maybe 2 years, before you can go on to something else. And that job hopping is really common. And I think that is actually a way you can sometimes make more money over the long run, but it's not as maybe respectful to your employer as it could be. And so those standards, I think, on both ends have changed, employer and employee.
Well, it's there's a gig economy, especially with younger generations. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody here. These are all our jobs, right? So this is probably not a good example, but it's a testament to Center of the American Experiment. But I know for the producers on the show, when Robbie got let go from the previous show, which was through a round of layoffs, that situation, by the way, I can go and tell the story now. This is kind of funny. So So this happened during presidential election week in 2024. Okay, and same thing. Me Muscle was going through a round of layoffs, and they started at the beginning of It started on Monday. No. Yeah, they started on Monday. That's right. They did it into the election because the election was Tuesday, right? So they did this mass layoff, and everyone was like, oh, Me Muscle went and used the election as cover to do this mass firing of a bunch of their employees. But what was funny about it was none of it was associated with talk radio. It was all the music personalities that got let go.
Huh.
And much like the joke I made to Chris Carr when I got let go, that if management showed up at my door after work, I knew I was going to be in trouble because we were going through layoffs. At that point in 2024, I made the comment that, you know what? I bet Me Muscle was waiting for the election to be over. And sure enough, it was the following day when they came in and let Robbie go after the show. And I found out that that's when all the news talk talent across the country had got, the people that they had targeted got let go. So they waited. So they made sure that they had all of them for election night and election coverage, and then they cut them all loose.
That's crazy.
But as I said before, I don't have any animosity, and I feel bad for people that get laid off. But at the same time, we all chose to do this job. I chose to be a talk show host, knowing that it was going to be a volatile situation. It's really interesting, too, just as a side note. And, again, so glad that we can do these dry run shows so I can get all of this out of my system now. But with my driver, Alex Bowman, that I was talking about, right? He's a favorite sort of whipping boy among NASCAR fans. They like to pick on him because he's very quiet and reserved and deals with anxiety and stuff like this. He's not. He doesn't have a big personality like a lot of NASCAR drivers do. And there was all this speculation that Hendrick Motorsports that he drives for was they were going to fire him. They were going to kick him out the door. They didn't want him there anymore. Well, it turns out that actually Hendrick this whole time had been wanting him to stay. He had told them that he wanted to retire by the time he was 35, and they had been encouraging him and encouraged him to stay another year with the team because he was going to retire this year, and he's going to be keeping a role at Hendrick Motorsports when he retires from actually driving the race car, so he still has a gig. And I made the point online yesterday, and one of the reasons why I like him, and it relates to what I was talking about, and that is, if you just are a really good worker, if you work hard, you do what you're supposed to do, and you're just generally a good person, you'll end up earning that appreciation and respect that you were never looking for in the first place. And that goes such a long way, and I think it's something that gets lost among a lot of generations, And it's something that I've tried to subscribe by. I made a comment to you guys that my goal is to make sure that, whoever's employing me, I give them as little as possible to go and complain about, Sometimes it doesn't save you. I think I actually lasted longer at Me Muscle because of my work ethic than anything else. But that whole idea of work ethic and working hard and just being nice and being a good person and not getting wrapped up in the politics of the day and taking sides and divisions and dividing even inside of a workplace. I think it's a lot of reason why there's so many gig jobs out there for young people, because they don't have that work ethic built in. And if you just apply yourself and be a good person, you can go a long way, a lot farther than you probably thought that you could.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of young people in particular don't have that they don't have the mentality that if they are loyal to the company, if they put in extra work on behalf of the company, that they will be paid for that in various ways, And I think that, but I think that's still true, and I think that that's just something we've lost to some degree. People are, and you can see why the incentives are there to care only about yourself in a job environment. But if you do care about your coworkers and you're a good person to work with, that goes so far.
You know who a really good real world example of this in politics is? J.D. Vance. I would put J.D. Vance in that category. I think J.D. Vance made it as far as he did, less so on his accomplishments and more so on just his character and his character as a person. And that it's people like that, and even Marco Rubio, who we played earlier, that when we talk about the Republican Party, especially compared to Democrats, as we sort of move back over into news items, the Democrat bench isn't that deep. But I'm excited about the future for Republicans, especially presidential prospects, because you look at the age of Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance, and these are two individuals who have really had and continue to have amazing moments in incredibly controversial times to show how effective they are as leaders. And I know everybody's focused on Trump. He's the president. We're dealing with all of these different issues. But we got these group of individuals that are a part of that apparatus right now that are going to be around, way, much longer after Trump is gone. And the Republican Party's future is bright with individuals like that.
Totally. And look at how the people who are successful now and clearly going to be successful over the next many years are the people who decided to become team players when, Trump made fun of Marco Rubio all the time when they were running against each other. But Marco said, no, I'm a team player for the party, as one should be, to get things done. And now he's maybe the most likely person to be our next, Republican presidential nominee. Think of the people who just went after Trump and left that debate stage in 2016 and could never come to terms with getting on board with the Republican Party. Has anyone said the name like John Kasich or whatever that name guy? Like Kasich? I don't even remember. Like that guy, he was awful, and he disappeared because he wouldn't join the team. So I think it's actually a really good example of that.
I'm glad it's funny just to dovetail off of something you said. Everybody got wise to Trump and his name calling. Like it's not even a thing anymore. And I think even to the people J.D. Vance didn't support Trump in the first place, and he's explained his lack of support in the beginning. I didn't support Trump when he first arrived on scene.
Yeah, same.
Most people didn't. I mean, early on, yeah.
I voted for Rubio in that primary. I ended up voting for Trump in the general, but I voted for Rubio, and famously, it's still in my playlist because it pops up every once in a while when I have it on shuffle. I have my anti-Trump show in my playlist on my phone where I opened the show in complete Trump voice and almost did the entirety of the show and really made the audience mad. This was long before MAGA had even erupted. This was just heading into the primary, and but I changed my tune on that. But you're right. He's little Marco.
Yeah.
But everybody began to understand that's just Trump's style.
Right.
And it doesn't care. And so to that point, I don't know, is Trump even calling people names that much anymore? I don't even think I think even he has realized that it doesn't have the same sort of effect, or people are wise to his sort of game of throwing those names out there. I don't know. Does he have names for the Iranian leaders other than dead?
Yeah, he used to do Rocket Man. Oh, that is funny. Sorry. He used to do Rocket Man, or he.
Oh, that's right, for North Korea, for Kim Jong Un and stuff.
Yeah, the only person still doing names is you, John.
Yeah.
I think you should bring it back.
I'm just carrying on the tradition.
No.
Yeah. Lamy Klobuchar is the one that made me happy. I hadn't landed on that one in a while. What was I doing for Peggy? Oh, Petty Flanagan. But there's nothing really to point of her being petty. She's more just a clown.
Yeah, we can work on that one.
Did you see her video dancing at the rally to I Want to Dance?
Yes.
I Want to Dance with Somebody?
Oh, yes.
Talk about cringeworthy. What's worse, that or Me Muscle, Grace?
Sorry, Me Muscle.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I have such a negative reaction, but I'm getting outvoted. I'll come around on it.
No. I'm going to retire it after today. This is just for the dry run shows. I'm not going to introduce this coming up on Monday because I get the feeling a lot of people are going to be in your camp. All right, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz signed a bill that raises the age limit for purchasing and possessing kratom. We do kratom, right? Is it kratom? You guys know what I'm talking about?
What?
Oh, you guys don't know what kratom is?
No.
Oh, okay. We'll get into this. I have a story here of the new Minnesota laws that take effect on August 1st. We're going to save kratom for the last. Kratom is one of those synthetic drugs that you can purchase in gummies at convenience stores. It's supposed to get you high and it's legal, but it's incredibly dangerous.
Oh. Yeah,
because they've had this around for a while. They have all these different synthetic chemicals that they've put in these products that you can purchase that are supposed to be simulating what you would get off of marijuana.
What? So, like simulating THC, but it's not at all from
Yes.
a marijuana plant.
Yeah, so here, let me, while we're on it, again, I know I'm going to save it for later, but since you guys were unfamiliar with this.
You can buy these at convenience stores?
Yes, Kratom is an herbal supplement known to trigger opioid-like effects in higher doses. It's sometimes referred to as gas station heroin due to comparisons to opioids that have been tied to cardiac arrest in rare cases.
Why have I never heard of this?
Yeah.
In Arizona, Kratom is legal but heavily regulated under the state's Kratom Consumer Protection Act. We'll go ahead and go there. I was saving it for the end, but since we're here, let's go here. Because one of the new laws is now regulating Kratom. So they've raised the age limit on this.
So it's not a drug. Or it is.
It is I believe it's a synthetic herbal supplement.
Okay.
What does that even mean?
Yeah. So the age to purchase or possess Kratom has now increased from 18 to 21. Okay, so it is a plant that can cause stimulating and sedative effects. The FDA warns, though, that Kratom's, especially, here we go, its synthetic derivative 7-OH, which is classified as an opioid, can cause adverse effects. Health officials also warn that the substances can be addictive despite the fact that they can be bought at some gas stations and smoke shops.
That's crazy. What?
Yeah. Well, people have gotten injured on this. So Amanda Goodsell, 27 years old, had to be placed on life support after a severe reaction to Kratom. Nearly a week after nearly a week of use, she suffered a cardiac arrest and was hospitalized with heart failure. Although her heart function improved, she will require a defibrillator and heart medication now for life because she took this.
Wow.
It's just not worth it. So she'd never taken Kratom before, her family said. And after experiencing persistent leg pain, her husband suggested that she try a gummy supplement. Okay? If you're going to do that, you got to do the stuff that's safe for you to take.
Right.
You know, I still do the night gummy. Actually, I need to get more. The night gummies from Mini Leaf are just, they're fantastic. Mm-hmm. But they're made with all natural ingredients. I've gone and asked my doctor, because I have a cardiologist, that they say absolutely they're safe for you to take, and they're really, really effective. This, not so much. She started experiencing persistent leg pain, said you should take a gummy supplement. So everybody knew what Kratom was. So I was like, well, okay, here, just take this. You could just buy it at a gas station. It's not going to hurt you. Wow. Those two things should not be put together.
Oh, man.
You should never be put... You buy it at a gas station. It's not going to hurt you.
You know, you can buy cigarettes at gas stations. I mean...
Well, people... Yeah, that's the problem with, like, legalizing marijuana and all these different things. It's like, well, yeah, people assume that if it's legal, it's safe.
Right.
And it's definitely not in every circumstance.
Nearly a week after taking the product, Goodsell found his wife unresponsive in their bed. She's like, she was red, her lips were blue, and she was foaming.
This is horrific.
So, but she's like 27, right?
Yeah.
But now, so we've raised the age limit to get it.
To 21.
But, like, how does that help?
Right.
Like, that would not have helped this specific case.
Right.
No. Yeah, I think we need to re-examine this particular drug and making it available at all, but I'm sure there are a lot of sort of libertarians out there going, no. But and I don't know how often this happens. I know I talked about this before on previous shows because there was a circumstance here that took place. But you're right. I mean, her being 27 with raising as a 21. I mean, I guess it's moderation, just like you would alcohol, I suppose. So I jumped out of bed, I grabbed her, and I was trying to wake her up. I thought she was dead. You freak out a little bit, I thought she was gone. She was transported to the hospital, placed on life support with her heart barely pumping. I do wonder if there wasn't some sort of other pre-existing condition that Kratom went and exacerbated.
That's what I'm expecting to hear or to find out eventually, yeah.
They had to have her on a ventilator to help her breathe, and then they had to put her on a bunch of medications because her heart percentage was at 15%, Mike Goodsell said. Doctor said Amanda Goodsell was suffering from heart failure and would need a heart transplant. After 2 weeks in the hospital, she did begin to recover. Her heart kind of like did a miracle turnaround, and the percentage came up to a stable point. It was a sense of relief. They told me that she didn't need one. Oh, man. Yeah, it's frightening. It's frightening. But this is one of those things where I understand. I agree with the raising the age limit to 21, because if this is something that in high doses is going to cause this kind of effect and it's available to 18-year-olds, yeah, it's a really, really dangerous situation.
And I mean, if only so you're raising the age limit so that the people making these decisions have more fully developed brains and can better make decisions about how much to take and whether you should take it and when you should take it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. All right, let's get into some other laws here, though. You guys ready? Food banks and egg donations. A new law allows food banks to accept egg donations past their quality assurance date.
Oh, yeah, no, but I think that's cool. I think they're good. Eggs are good for a while after the quality date, right?
Well, according to this article from Fox 9, eggs are still good past that date.
Yeah, I just Googled this actually not that long ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, my husband was throwing away eggs by the sell-by date, and I was like, well, that's stupid. The sell-by date is not, like the date. But then I was like, well, I don't know how. Maybe it lasts another 2 days or something. If you Google it, it'll claim they last like 3 weeks, which I find a little suspicious.
Well, and you can test it, right? If you put it in water and the egg floats a certain direction, that's if it's still good.
Huh?
No, seriously, yeah.
What?
If the egg floats or if it sinks determines whether or not it's rotten.
Really?
I'm serious. Now, do I know which is which? No.
I had never heard that.
I think if it floats, it's gone bad.
What?
Interesting. I've heard that relating to other things that I don't want to get into on the show. Where they have, but that's a little grosser. I've never heard that regarding, you never heard the term sinkers or floaters?
Just stop talking.
Okay. We're not on terrestrial radio. We can get away with this now. But I would rather our guests not leave at the moment here. Although they are at work, so where are they going to go? Refrigerated eggs are typically safe to eat for about a month after their pack date. However, they begin to lose their flavor or quality. Wait a second. So quality, flavor, I'm with you, but quality is where I start to get concerned if you're using that kind of language.
About perishable food.
Especially eggs.
Yeah.
Donated cartons must be labeled with distribution date, program name, and a not for resale notice.
This seems good. This just seems like an attempt to reduce food waste and give these eggs a second chance at getting used before they end up in a... What? I was just laughing at me.
I'm totally listening to you.
A second chance of being used? That was just very funny wording.
What?
We got to give these eggs a second chance.
Yeah, we're giving them another opportunity. No, she's not wrong.
Hey, in terms of laws that have been passed in Minnesota, there's been worse.
How do you... So when you get... do you all get, deli meat at home?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So you don't... Really?
I just, go to Potbelly. I don't buy deli... No.
You are such an anomaly.
You're so bougie.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
I don't eat enough deli meat to justify, maybe we'll have a...
Okay.
Are you having sandwiches every day?
Well, there's 4 of us in the house, and I've got 2 growing boys, so I guess I'm probably not...
That's different, I think. Yeah.
They get very excited when they make sandwiches.
Okay, one thing about us, we don't buy extra food because, we'll both eat it. So it's our meals are planned out, our food is planned out, not a lot of extra stuff. So I don't just keep, sandwich materials on hand,
Are you cooking?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. You a good cook? Yeah, okay.
I can make, tacos, meatballs.
Like a taco kit? You can ground the beef and add the little...
Exactly. The shaker, the old...
Okay, all right.
What's it called? I forget, but El Paso.
Yeah.
They're
The
so
El Paso. Yeah, the El Paso taco kit. Have you tried the ones, by the way? I don't like them, but have you... they tried to get too clever with the taco shells and they made them flat on the bottom?
Oh, I haven't tried those.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't... They're too... They don't...
I don't like hard shell
anyway. You can't get... You don't like what?
I don't like hard shell anyway.
Oh, you don't do hard shell
partly
at all.
for that reason.
No, you don't need to do that. You need to do a bowl and then just take the tortilla chips and then put them, and then you're not dealing with the mouth issue, and you're getting too much chip when you do the hard shell. So that really just spreads the chip out.
See, I'm not... hard shell, soft... So given the choice, if I can only have one, I'll probably go soft. But a lot of times it just comes down to mood. We had a whole conversation about hot dogs and ketchup and mustard yesterday. It was sort of the same thing.
True.
Isaac, hard shell, soft shell?
Soft shell if I had the choice.
Okay.
Yeah, but flour?
Both work.
But will you go both?
Flour.
Okay.
Yep.
Flour, here's my ranking. Flour,
okay.
hard shell, corn.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, corn is
corn
authentic. Not
Oh.
my fave.
Had a corn taco the other day. Same thing.
Yeah.
I was like,
Corn is good for bringing it back to Costco because we always should. They have a taco. They have a street. They call it street taco kit.
Great kit.
It's so great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And those are corn. Those are corn tortillas.
And those are good.
Yeah.
But if they were flour, they'd be better.
It's got everything in it. They're fit. It's fit. I'm doing this because that's the shape of the carton. It's like
It's a long, it's
a
very
rectangle.
distinctive shape. Yes,
On
it's
it. Yeah,
long and
that's right.
rectangular.
I got that once. I was out of town and I got that for my husband. And I was like, do you think this is enough for you? And he was like, I think it'll be good.
It's shockingly full of food. That'll last you.
100%. You get it and you think, there's not nearly enough meat in here. And then you start making and go, oh, there's plenty of meat in here. This is going to last for a few days. Right? Yeah.
I should renew my Costco membership, I guess.
You let yours lapse?
Yeah.
Well, no, you know, the Coon Rapids one, they're going to bulldoze the TGI Fridays and put in a parking lot to make more parking spaces.
Yeah, they're probably looking for new
In case you
members so they can pay for that.
In case you hadn't heard before. So let me get back to the question. So you're out on this question because you don't do deli meat because you're weird. So when it comes to, so they have the sell-by date from the store.
Mm-hmm.
So how often are you referencing that, and how long are you keeping the deli meat after the sell-by date? Or do you have like a method, like you sniff in the ham to make sure if it's gone bad?
Wait, can we clip that? Can we please clip that?
I work very hard to not let it get to the point that I need to, sniff my meat.
You need to clip that.
As it exited my mouth, I such regret.
We got to build the database back
I completely
up. That's a
forgot
good
what
start.
I completely forgot what your answer was. Isaac, how long are you keeping your deli meat before you throw it away?
it doesn't matter anymore. I can't even focus.
My whole point was that I use it very quickly. I use it so I don't have to do that.
All right.
Because I don't
True.
trust myself to discern.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The quality?
Yeah.
I feel like
I
deli
got
meat,
you.
I try to stick pretty close to the sell-by date.
Yeah, we do too. I mean, usually it's a day or two, and it depends on the kind of meat you're dealing with too. Usually you can tell. There was one time where I had some steaks and they were past the sell-by date. Man, it was so borderline. It was like I cooked them anyway. I'm still here to tell the tale.
Okay, but
Probably shouldn't have.
John, sell by. You got days after that. Best Buy.
Yeah.
Don't eat after.
Yeah.
Are you aware of this difference?
Oh, okay. I guess I'm always going by the sell-by date.
Oh, dude.
Well, no,
No.
they only ever have one. But if it says sell by,
Yeah.
you got like 3 days.
Right,
maybe?
right. Of course.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I was just wondering that was my whole point was that you have a sell-by date.
Yeah,
but
how
you
long
don't-
are you
but how
going
long?
out?
How long are you?
Yeah.
Depends on the product, but I'll try to avoid
How long
that.
are you pushing that meat?
Oh, my gosh.
These are questions that need answers. I had another point, and now I've completely lost it.
Leave
All
a
right,
talk back. Let us know how long you're pushing your meat.
let's get to a few more on this. Gosh darn it! What was my thought? I know you guys have no idea. We're talking about the sell-by date, the meat. How long do you keep it? I don't remember now. Let's go here. Paddle wheel prize. You guys ever do paddle wheel prizes with any Center of the American Experiment events?
What? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah.
like our
the wheel.
trademark.
That's what they are, right?
State fair
That's what a
activity.
paddle wheel is, right? That's what that is.
I've never heard it called that, but
Just a wheel.
They are increasing the prize maximums will increase to $200, and the maximum ticket price will increase to $5. The law also changes the maximum that can be deposited into the Consumer Protection Restitution account to $10 annually. The law adds that the card game Hassenpfeffer.
oh boy.
Boy, the look on Catherine's face is like I might as well be speaking Portuguese. I might as well be speaking Portuguese. Anybody familiar with Hassenpfeffer? No, I have no idea what that is. It's now the card game Hassenpfeffer to list the social skills game for tournaments and contests. So apparently you could not play the game Hassenpfeffer for tournaments and contests, but now you can.
Why were we ever regulating these things? Is
I have
kind
no
of my
idea.
question. What's so bad about Hassenpfeffer?
I think
And also
it's-
winning more than $200 on a a spin wheel.
It's like a gambling thing because remember we once last year, and I think we're going to do it again, have given away a scholarship, a $7,000 scholarship to a kid in private school to help fund their education. And let me tell you, that was a B word to figure out all of the legalities around having to do that kind of thing. But I think in Minnesota, even if you give, maybe it's over $200, if you give away even a pretty small amount of money, you got to jump through all kinds of hoops.
Okay.
So maybe that's what it is. They're saying if you have a card game where you win some money, you have to, it's now gambling. Then it counts as like a lottery. I'm sorry, is what it is, a lottery.
I don't know how we compare to other states, but my gosh, it feels like we overregulate.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, this feels so unnecessary.
I'm sure there are reasons for it, but all right. We also have the Notification Technology Access Ban. This law prohibits owning, controlling, or advertising software, applications, or websites designed to notify images or videos. So everything that does that now? I mean,
all AIs, can't they? Or maybe they won't, actually.
The major ones have guards against that, I'm sure. Like ChatGPT and Gemini, I'm sure they have some guardrails.
I wonder if I don't know if Grok will allow that.
Grok was allowing that for a while. That's why people were mad at them, right?
I don't think they do now because I've not seen that. And usually I will go, like, have you... what do I want to say? What do I not want to say? All right. So there was... This is somewhat innocuous and benign, so I'll just say it. So I was on X the other day, and there was a picture of Sydney Sweeney and another young fetching woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to go anyplace weird, don't worry.
Wow.
So it was Sydney Sweeney and one of her friends, right? Both attractive women. There's no denying that. I mean, it's all subjective, but come on. It's Sydney Sweeney. And they asked Grok to put them both in Spider-Man outfits. Okay? So I see this a lot. I don't see individuals going and asking Grok to make them nude.
Good point.
Well,
that's the point that I'm trying to make.
Now, hang on. If individuals were doing that, though, that content would not be then posted.
Well, X allows all that stuff now. That was so. I think the controversy that you're referring to, Grace, was how X used to go and ban a lot of that explicit material. They don't anymore. Thankfully, the algorithms don't feed you any of that if you're not going and looking for any of that. But that material, I know there's some rules involved, but it used to be an explicit ban on anything. It used to be a complete ban on anything explicit on X, and that changed, I think, a year or two ago. And I think it had a lot to do with the fact that people were skirting around it. And again, if you don't want to be exposed to any of that, as long as you're not going and seeking it out, it doesn't feed it to anybody. I think that's the change.
But if you search on X, like,
yes,
porn, you get porn?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
my gosh.
That feels
interesting.
That feels wrong to me. That feels like maybe a step too far. This seems like a good law. In general, this seems like a good change to me.
But victims can file civil lawsuits. Violators would face a penalty up to $500,000 each for unlawful access, download, or use. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm fearful of stuff like this, though, because where's the slippery slope come in? We've already seen the ridiculous laws relating to election cycles. And, there was a recent controversy with Peggy Flanagan and Angie Craig, where Angie Craig had a PAC that went and created that Peggy Flanagan attack ad, and they ended up using AI because you can still Photoshop people. So I'm with the law in theory, but at the same time, there's plenty of ways that can still be utilized, and I'm worried about over-regulation on this technology that could go and limit the advancements of it.
Yeah, I'm with it on, I just heard this really creepy story that basically was involving this kind of thing and children, and that was, like, very disturbing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm with it on that.
Absolutely.
Can't be doing that. But for adults, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't impact me, frankly, and I try and avoid AI, so...
Grooming a minor made a... I'm just going to back up really quick. Let me just reverse here real quick. So you're on board with the guaranteed human then? Is that the idea?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But this pushes back on my theory yesterday.
I don't know.
Isaac.
I keep getting like kind of trapped by AI. Like, do you ever send something to someone and they're like, that's AI, right? And I'm like, crap. It's happened a couple times lately, and so now I'm starting to be like, I gotta.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
I'm getting crazy AI ads now on some of my platforms where it's like, it'll be for like a prescription drug or something, and it'll be like a green alien skeleton creature, and they've got this like boppin' AI music singing about the prescription drug. It'll be like a 3-minute produced movie song, and they're catchy, and it's really weirding me out. So I would like to opt out of those.
Wait, did you just mention catchy AI songs? Is that what you? Yeah, I know. Oh, there we go. Ah, and now suddenly it's on. I even have the volume on. I have not learned this. There we go. Woo! Is that you? That was on Isaac. I just wanted to play a snippet of it. That's a great tune.
This is a banger.
It's been too long.
This is a great use of AI.
We'll go out. I'll tell you what. We'll go out with it when we wrap this. When we wrap the show up here shortly, we'll do that.
Nice.
Because I actually have the full 3-minute version, and I made a little video for it for those that are watching. So I can share it with everybody when the show has wrapped up. All right. Let's see. Just a couple of other laws here, and then we can hit a few more points and wrap up the last dry run show before Monday's debut.
Before it gets real.
This is serious. Grooming a minor is now made a felony. This creates a felony offense for someone who engages in a deliberate pattern of behavior to manipulate a child into future sexual conduct. Mandated reporter training for educational staff must be updated by August 27th to cover identifying, mitigating, and reporting grooming behaviors. It's funny. I looked at this earlier. I highlighted it to share on board, but then suddenly I'm reading this going, who's making the decisions on this, and what is this, and how is this going to be applied? Like, I certainly understand the desire to go and tackle this issue. It is a problem, especially in light of what we've just went through with the Tulu Vang deportation pardon situation. But also, they have the mandated training to educate individuals on how to identify this stuff. I'm just wondering what the conditions are and how this will be applied.
That's definitely a question. It feels like it could be well-intentioned, but it does feel like it could be very subjective.
What laws didn't we have in place already to handle situations like...
That's my question. I would have thought, isn't grooming a minor already illegal?
Well, yeah, when you can... and so let's look at this from a conservative viewpoint. There's a lot of us, myself included, that consider much of what's put inside of our public school system for minors relating to LGBTQ... imagery, I'll just focus on that. There's other examples I can give, but I would argue that there's a grooming that's involved in that. When you talk about those particular issues, you're talking about human sexuality, you're talking about relationships of individuals. That's the determining factor. And so when you have that inside of a learning environment for underage kids, I would go and say that is grooming those children, especially if you're from a household that doesn't agree with a particular chosen lifestyle.
That's a really good point. And in that House hearing the other day where they were talking to the people from the Smithsonian museums, they showed some of the imagery that was literally in the Smithsonian museums, and it was adults in bondage and things like that. Ugh. Very disturbing. Clearly, I think could be, grooming. You have all kinds of kids coming through those museums. So that's a really good point. At what point does it become grooming?
I wonder, I have to do a little bit. I'll do a little bit more digging on that because I'm interested. I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually something that was put forward if it was a bipartisan bill that was passed, and perhaps there were some Republicans within the legislature that were looking at that themselves. So those were the most interesting ones. There were several other items, a lot of new laws.
There's that interesting social media one that Grace and I have talked about before on the podcast. I think it was in a clip you played earlier, but like the social media mental health warning, that's still, they're undergoing this, lawsuit. And so I haven't seen it anywhere on my social media, but you're supposed to get in Minnesota, as of I think it was July 1, you're supposed to get this big notification that says social media can impact your mental health. Here is a number to the suicide hotline.
Oh, interesting. Kind of like Monty telling me to take a break when I'm driving too long.
Kind of a weird Big Brother thing.
Different, but the
I would
same.
say.
Since you brought up AI, just really quick, and then we'll play some Mick Jagger and we'll wrap up today's show. I had a couple of stories here from, and I'll be bringing back David Gartenstein Ross for our artificial intelligence discussions. But I had a couple of AI stories that were sitting in the stack that I never got a chance to cover with David. And because Catherine, I know what a big artificial intelligence fan you are, I figured I'd bring this up. This one, a 22-year-old Indian scammer using the pseudonym Sam created an AI-generated influencer named Emily Hart. Do you guys remember this?
A little bit.
To target conservative men on social media. The account, featuring content tailored to appeal to the MAGA demographic, gained significant popularity and generated substantial income for Sam. Despite the removal of the Facebook and Instagram accounts, Sam expressed no regrets about the scam. How is this a scam?
They must have been soliciting. Well, they were either monetized or they were soliciting donations from if they were on TikTok at least. He said
Sam said he used his Google Gemini chatbot to identify the target audience. And actually it was funny because we talked about this in our house because Kyle and I had looked at it at Emily. I think she had purple. She was wearing like a purple outfit, and they had her like in a Union Jack outfit and all this, and she was talking a lot of conservative values. And we had I remember having a whole discussion with him about new media, emerging media, using this technology to reach new voters and getting young people involved. And apparently this was all a scam by this dude the whole time. He said that he used the Gemini chatbot to help identify the target audience, claiming it suggested the MAGA conservative niche could be particularly lucrative because the conservative audience, especially older men in the U.S., often has higher disposable income and is more loyal. He tailored the account content accordingly, depicted Emily as a nurse taking part in activities like ice fishing, drinking Coors Light, and shooting off rounds at the rifle range. Sam told Wire he didn't expect much from the account, but it kept growing in popularity. Every reel I posted was getting 3 million to 5 million to 10 million views. The algorithm loved it.
Wow. How was he making money? I do have that question.
If he has it on TikTok,
it had to have been on TikTok, right?
Yeah, he's making money. I saw it on X, but if this was on TikTok, he was making money hand over fist.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you say the name of the person again? I need to look it up and decide.
Emily Hart.
I need to decide if this is like a legitimate thing or if people are being dumb and it was obviously AI.
I still don't understand why they're calling this a scam. If you ended up making an AI character, you were making social media content, you have a deal made with the platform in terms of revenue generation based on the number of views you're getting. I mean, are they simply calling it a scam because he's not a conservative and yet he created a conservative character and therefore made money off it? I don't find that a scam. I find that as being an entrepreneur.
I think it's a scam if you are doing it specifically with the intent to deceive people and to get their money, which it sounds like this was.
Interesting. But how would that relate to somebody who, say, was doing, let's say that I was secretly a Democrat this whole time. And I'm putting up social media content appealing to conservatives, but I'm being disingenuous, but people don't even realize it. I mean, I guess, again, that's where I think you can call it a scam, but it's not a scam in legal terms.
Again, though, seriously, if he was doing the thing on TikTok where you can solicit money, I'm not talking monetization now. You can solicit money from your followers.
Right, absolutely. You're not talking about getting paid from the views.
Right.
You're talking about soliciting donations from individuals for it. Okay,
yes.
That makes sense.
I gotta say, this is pretty AI looking to me.
Oh, yeah. There was no doubt it was AI. I think everybody knew it was AI. I think it was more what Grace was saying.
Okay.
That this was an individual who was.
I don't know if everyone knew it was AI.
I'm going to agree with that, yeah.
You know about older people?
Okay. I do.
The old dudes giving money to the.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't lump me in that category.
Well, I think women, too. I don't know. You know, I get sent some stuff sometimes from that generation that is like, do you know that's AI?
That's true. That is very true. You know what AI doesn't do well? They don't do tears well. Every single time I see an AI-generated picture of somebody crying, it just looks creepy and weird.
I wish we could go back to the days when AI videos were first starting, and it would just be a picture of, like, a stuffed teddy bear, and it would just kind of, it would, like, shudder a little bit, and it's like, that's AI video. Yeah. And that was as far as it had advanced. Everything after that was a mistake. And that was creepy in and of itself, but...
Now you cannot tell.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap on this. I want to get your thoughts. So Mick Jagger, Rolling Stones, brand new record, 25th studio album, 64 years together. Whew. It's their first album since 2023. Hackney Diamonds was that album. It's just, fantastic record.
Yeah, they're not topping charts anymore.
I have no. They're still drawing crowds, and Mick Jagger still has the moves like Jagger, but he is very, very old.
That is the only song I know by him, or not by him, but about him, I guess.
82. He is 82 years old. So he was making the media rounds talking about the Rolling Stones. Also got on the topic of other rock icons and had some very interesting words that actually made me want to listen to some Rolling Stones. I didn't. I'm not a Rolling Stones fan. Never been my style of music. But I tended to agree with some of what he had to say.
My question is to do with sort of how you understand your relationship with your audience. This actually maybe speaks to the politics stuff in a way too, because and let me give two counterexamples to sort of triangulate the question. Okay. So on one poll, we have somebody like Bob Dylan, where if you go see him live, he's great. It almost feels like the crowd is incidental. Like he's going to be doing whatever he's doing, whether or not people showed up or not. On the other end of the spectrum, you have somebody like a Bruce Springsteen, who clearly sees his job as engaging in a meaningful back and forth with his audience. It means something different to him. Yeah. What does your relationship to the audience mean to you? What do they represent, all those people out there?
Well, first of all, it depends where you are and what kind of event it is. Like the New Orleans event, that's a festival. They didn't come to see you necessarily. You know, they bought their tickets before they knew you were coming.
Right. If you play the New Orleans Jazz Festival,
we played that. Then we do Summer in the Park in London. You buy those tickets. Glastonbury. You buy those tickets because you like that festival. You always think something's good's going to happen, but you don't know. So they're not necessarily coming to see. They're not your biggest fans necessarily. I'm not saying that they hate you, otherwise it probably wouldn't be there. There's different levels of these kind of people, and you have to treat them in a slightly different way. I mean, the bottom line of
first off, just real quick, I have again, I know very little about Mick Jagger. I just know the hits, right? Okay. I don't think I've ever even watched an interview with Mick Jagger until this one, but I had just based off of what he said, a tremendous amount of respect for what he said there, because he's right. Mm-hmm. He's absolutely right. It's that whole know your audience, and from a content creator standpoint, listening to that, going, yeah, man, he's 100% correct. You got to know the audience you're playing for, and if in this case, if you're at a big festival, you want to start preaching to the crowd. Well, you got a whole bunch of people that aren't there, to see just you. They're there to see other individuals. But here's where he makes the interesting statement.
The bottom line of my thing is that my job in the live music world is just those people that come is to have the best time they possibly can, and for 2 hours or whatever it is, to forget all their problems and problems of the world and their mortgages and their whatever, and if they have problems, or just to give them, they can have just the best time. It's similar going to a sports event, really, because you everything else is shut out. You're just watching who's going to win. You're not worrying about everything else. Those things are out of your mind. I know you're still you're on the phone and everything. Little Danny has hurt his tooth. But, I know you can still have that. But in the old days, you never had that really. That's my job. So is to make them have the best time they possibly have. And some audiences want to go completely nuts, And then you encourage them to go more nuts. And so you can play to some places in the world. It's different, You play in Finland. It's not the same as playing in Argentina, There's a different. They don't want to go completely so nuts. Maybe they do. I'm just using it as possibles. Yeah. But so you don't want to be trying to churn them up into get frustrated that they're not being demonstrative, or you don't think they're having a good time, because they might be quite relatively calm. They might be relatively, they're having a good time, but in their, I always say to everyone else, they're having a good time in their own way. But as you go to another place and they're going completely apeshit, so, and your job is to make them more apeshit. That's the one that want to go apeshit, but let's go apeshit, so.
I want to dig a little deeper on that question.
Yeah.
So you're talking about what your job is in those events, is to make people have a good time, they want to leave the concert feeling like it was worth it and they can forget their trouble.
And you don't want to lecture them.
You don't want to lecture them.
That was the part that ended up garnering the most attention, because it completely pushes back on what your Bruce Springsteens have done as of late. And there's a host of other artists out there. And I can't help, and I think there's a British element to this, where I think that when it comes to, we'll just focus on Bruce Springsteen and then we'll wrap up the show today. I bet there was a point in time when Bruce Springsteen probably felt exactly the same way. And if you interviewed Springsteen, he probably would have said exactly the same things that Mick Jagger was saying. But Bruce Springsteen, like so many others, you go back to that turning point of Trump, and I think it broke a lot of people. I was watching an interview yesterday with the guy that played the actor who plays Reacher on the Amazon show. That big Alan
Richmond or Richie
Richter or something like this. He was doing an interview just yesterday, and he was railing on Trump again, calling him a racist pedophile, and I feel like that Bruce Springsteen fell into that category where his brain got broken, and now they go to their shows because they're going to kind of get preached at. But I personally really appreciated Mick Jagger's comments there as an individual who's been around for decades, entertaining audiences, and even at age 82 hasn't succumbed to the woke mind virus and understands he's still just there to entertain the masses, and that's his job.
That's exactly it. The guy knows what he's there for. He's there to entertain people and give them a good time for a few hours. And I think that's great.
Yeah, it comes across as very humble, too. It's like he knows his role. My role is not to be a policy expert, a political pundit. That's not why people come to me. It comes across as just very confident in who he actually is and not having to pretend to be anything else.
It's not my role either. My role is just people to have a good time. I'm not here to give any sort of opinions or takes on it. Well, wait, sorry. I guess I'm not saying
I might be wrong there.
I know, right? Hey, that wraps up the second dry run show. We've got a lot of faces there. I think they're all wondering why we've gone long. Yeah, there's a lot of... you guys don't know. Yeah, there's been a lot of people that have been circling around the doorway here at Center of the American Experiment, and I think they were like, I thought the show was done at 9. Well, it is, unless we end up starting late. But that is the luxury and what is amazing about what we're doing now. And I realized that later when we had our little technical snafu when the show started. I was like, I was still in my radio mindset. And I'm like, oh, no. I want to start on time, don't get me wrong, but you know what? We have the luxury of being able to go long, and thank you both to Catherine and Grace, my captive audience, because they have to work here anyways the rest of the day. So this was your Dry Run Freedom Friday show. Guys, I'm excited for the future, and I just let me just take a moment while I have you all here. Thank you so much for the opportunity and for helping to make all of this happen. It's been the most team of group and team efforts to go and pull this off, and it'll continue to be that. We're heading into tomorrow. Really looking forward to the America 250 block party. Of course, you will be watching or listening to this after that event, and the show starts officially on Monday. Right at 6 o'clock, 6 until 9 a.m. I think we got all the bugs worked out on the MixLR app. But, of course, head on over to AmericanExperiment.org. Hit the link there, and then you'll be able to find it on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Rumble, multiple pages. But head on over to the American Experiment social media pages to watch and listen. And thanks, you guys, so much for coming in. I'm so excited to get the show officially launched next week. And it won't be this loose. We have that luxury. We won't, we're gonna get back to the meat and potatoes that you guys all expect and keep our Freedom Fridays to have our fun. But again, thanks so much, guys, for making all this happen. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, John. I'm so happy to be back. I mean, I did feel a little rusty, but what a joy to be back for Freedom Fridays. I've missed it.
Yeah, this is a great scenario. So thank you, Grace.
And we are all so excited to have you on our team, on our American Experiment team now, John. I think we were all so excited for what comes next.
And Isaac, we'll get a camera on you eventually,
but I don't think there's a need. Okay. I don't think the audience will clamor for it.
All right. You can leave your comments early if you want to drop them into the comment line, 612-584-4565. Again, 612-584-4565, and email me, john.justice@americanexperiment.org. So as promised, we'll go out with this. This is a Zima Fizz, the full version, and we'll talk to you guys on a Monday morning right here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment.
Static waves at dawn, a voice that lingers when night is gone. Twin cities hum with stories spun. John Justice rides the rising sun. Zima Fizz in a plastic cup. Star Wars dreams keep lifting him up. Costco aisles is sacred ground where neon shadows spin around. Embark on journeys in the stars, a galaxy of hope and scars. With every word, a world takes flight. Justice writes in the cosmic night.